Who's ready for the Dirt Life Show?
Yeah. Welcome to episode 41 of the Dirt Life Show. We are stoked to have everybody joining us tonight. We got a little bit of stormy weather that's been happening in Arizona. So if anything happens, last time we had a stormy weather, it was gnarly. So took out the internet and everything. So please be patient with us if anything goes down. Just happy, like I said, to have you guys. Man, this is going to be an awesome show. We have our featured guest, Craig Scanlon, coming on. Craig is a fantastic human being. He's done so much for the off-road world, and especially the side-by-side market, and even in the early days of the side-by-side stuff, man. It's really cool to have a person like him, come on the show, man. It's sharing those stories is just amazing because you really get a good grasp on the level of effort that it was to make the side-by-side market, and anything for that matter, like dirt bikes back in the day and stuff, what it is nowadays. It's super cool. So we are really stoked to have him on. We'll probably bring him on around 6:45, 7 o'clock tonight. We have Jessy Nelson going to call in just a little bit. We got to hurry and get through our sponsors and stuff because we're going to talk some Supercross.
Is he going to be in his van again?
Probably. He's going to probably do like FaceTime emojis and stuff like that. He's calling in this time, so he won't be able to mess with us as much. Jesse's an awesome dude, so we can't wait to talk with him a little bit about what he thinks about the Supercross stuff coming in. It was actually pretty cool to see. Like, having everybody so amped, it was like Anaheim 1 all over again.
It was, totally.
So you could, like we always do, our intro, we tell you guys that you can always follow us on social media at The Dirt Life Show. Instagram is the best place, but you can always do it on Facebook and YouTube as well. But we have our broadcast every Monday night at 6 p.m., myself and Casey over here. We love hanging out with you guys. We want as much interaction as possible, so please comment in as much as possible on Facebook, comment in on YouTube, and we'll try to get to you guys. You can always visit the archives as well. You can always see it on YouTube and Facebook afterwards, but check it out on iTunes as well. We've been getting some really good numbers on iTunes, so it looks like a lot of people are listening, whatever they're doing, if they're doing it in the garage, working on their projects during this quarantine time and stuff. So thank you guys very much for listening. So we want to thank all of our sponsors. Obviously, we want to thank Shock Therapy. I'm wearing their hat tonight. Thank you very much, Justin and those guys. We're going to go and do a giveaway with them actually this week. So next week, pay attention on social media for that giveaway. It's going to be some pretty cool Can-Am stuff. So check them out. You can always use the code DIRTLIFE at shocktherapist.com, or you can give them a call over there and get a rad improvement system or any of their parts. Thank you to the guys at KMC Wheels. Ryan over there had a mini bike race this weekend, the pit bike race. I think there was like over 400 entries at this pit bike race.
Holy crap.
So that looks pretty cool. So thank you to the guys at KMC Wheels for hanging in there. We're going to do some pretty cool stuff with the unicorn and the KMC wheels too. Thank you to the guys at Zollinger Racing Products. They were always helping us. They make some fantastic products. You can use the code DIRTLIFE over there and save a bunch of money at ZollingerRacingProducts.com. Thank you guys at Rugged Radios. Also use the code DIRTLIFE at RuggedRadios.com. And, of course, Lance and all the crew over at Solderworld. Thank you guys very much. You guys can get your off-road repair kit to repair your race or ride and use the code DIRTLIFE at Solderworld.com. So thank you to those guys. Since we're a little bit rushed and we're worried about talking with Jesse about Supercross, I just want to talk about the show stats real quick because I got so excited when I was looking at it. We talked about them a little bit like the past couple weeks, but it's really cool for me to see the growth of the show. It's not even a year old yet. It'll be a year old in August, middle of August. So that's going to be super cool. I'm excited to see, compare year-to-year stats. But it's neat to understand how much people are actually watching the show and enjoying it and seeing all the interaction and just everything that's going on. I never ever thought that our little off-road community would be so interested in it. You know what I mean? It's just two dudes sitting in a studio,
right,
talking about off-road stuff, right? And
I think what's cool to me is the retainage. People are popping on and staying on. That's pretty awesome.
That's really cool. Well, there's two ways to think about that. Popping on and staying on, during the live shows, we don't get huge numbers or anything, but our off-road community is small, right?
Right.
But when I was looking at some of the iTunes statistics, we get decent numbers, but the best part about it is that almost all the people listen to the whole show.
That's cool.
And for having let's just say a 2-3 hour show, that's a lot of people's time, man.
Yeah,
every week to gain that many people, to get that many people listening for that long.
No doubt. I guess they're just into my shoes.
Yeah, probably. Well, iTunes, you can't see your shoes, though.
Oh, this is true.
Man, if they only watched on Facebook or YouTube, they wouldn't care about the topics that we discuss anymore, right?
Right.
So we really, really appreciate you guys, man. That is so cool that you guys are giving us so much love and you guys are just helping us out. Like, it is such a good thing and such a good feeling for us to have, especially all the crap that I've been through in my life. Like, to be able to see the growth like that, it just makes it so rewarding for me. It makes it so worth it for all this hard work that we've been putting in.
No doubt. And Fonzie shoots. He agrees. He says, "Yay, happy Monday!" Yeah, happy Monday, boys.
Yeah. So Alfonso's going to actually be going to a race in Texas with us.
Sweet.
So we're going to go to Texplex. And it's a side-by-side racing track, well, motocross and everything, too. I don't know if you've heard his name, Scott Champion.
Yep.
He's a Supercross racer, but his father owns that place in Texas. So
awesome.
We're going to go out there and hang out with some of the Miller boys, Hunter and Cody Miller, and a whole bunch of the Polaris guys, and just have a good time out there. I think it'll be a really cool thing. Alfonso's actually going to bring his drone, too. So
cool. Get some good footage.
Yeah, we'll do a little vlog and have some fun.
There you go.
I think it'll be pretty cool. And it'll be cool, too, because my dad's going to go, and we're just going to have a little bit of free time, you know what I mean? Avoid all this quarantine and all the stuff that's going on in the world. Get me out. Next week, we have some pretty cool topics to talk about, too, so it'll be neat to talk about that. We'll go into it in a little bit more detail. So what did you think about Supercross this weekend, man?
It was insane.
So I got some negative opinions and I got some good opinions.
Yeah, I have some both.
It. So first of all, I thought it was so shitty that they raced during the day.
Yeah, so I was talking to Jeremy Joie, during the race, and it reminds me, anybody that's raced in Arizona, I think it would remind us of basically every blown out daytime race.
Practice track that we have, yeah. So I was thinking to myself while I was watching it, and I was going to text you, but I didn't for whatever reason. I was thinking, like, our friend Taylor Vanderpool would go out to this place that we called Kolb, and it was like this super dry roach track,
always.
And he was the master at that place because he was always there, right?
Yep.
And I was looking at the track, and I was like, dude, if he could race, like, and let's just say, like, he was half of their speed, right? The half of the professional speed. He would still wax all of them at a track like that. It was so funny to see that because the track was so roached out, man. But it was cool to have that difference, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a perfectly prepped track and stuff. Right. And it kind of leads you to understand how talented those guys actually are, not just with their riding ability, but with their mental capacity.
Yeah. It took the technical scale of the whole track and race that much higher.
Absolutely.
Because they're riding on marbles, basically.
Yeah, and marbles and then concrete underneath.
Yeah,
so
right.
It really is slippery. Like, so to put it in terms of maybe somebody that hasn't ridden motorcycles or side-by-sides or whatever, imagine going out in the street, having a hailstorm and not pulling over in your car and just riding in your car on those like hail balls in the middle of the street. Like, it's or going across a puddle or something. It's really slippery. That's the way it was around the whole track for those guys.
Yeah, and again, obviously the cream rose to the top like it always does.
They really did, but you know what the craziest part about it was I don't think it was the cream of the riding crop, like not the speed crop. It was the mental thing that worked. Because Tomac obviously won. Cooper Webb got second. Ken Roxon got third. And I forgot what happened. Oh, Anderson, actually, he was going to be one of the topics that I wanted to talk about. He was ripping.
He was.
But
he needs to start.
He really does. But the reason that Tomac won was because he started falling back, but he put on a charge for just enough, like 3 laps that just broke the gap, and that was it. That was all he needed.
It was pretty
And he
sweet.
did it at a good time, so it wasn't too slippery.
Right. Yeah, I think there was, I mean, who knows if that was playing in his head or not, or if he just felt like, hey, I'm starting to lose it a little bit. I need to go. The good news is he didn't do what I've always expected him to do. So,
to choke?
Yeah, I hope he gets it done. I'm not a huge fan, but I would like to see him get it done.
Well, watching that ride that he had, like, I'm a Roxon fan. You're a Cincerillo fan.
Oops.
But, yeah, I know. We'll talk about him, but Tomac didn't blow it. He like came through with flying colors this time.
Oh, that's what I mean. That it needs to happen. Like, I think the whole fan base needs to see it, whether you're on one side or the other.
Yeah.
He needs to get it done. He really does.
Because he's been at it for so long, you mean?
Yeah, and how can you win so many races and be that guy? You know what I mean?
Do you have like a standout thing that he did during the race that you were like, wow, like that changed his whole career changed by doing that?
He did. I think usually when he starts to get a little heat and he starts falling back, he blows it. His mind goes or something. I mean, I'm not the 100% expert at it, but we've all seen it, and it was almost like he snapped out and was like, nope.
Yeah.
I'm getting back into my groove and riding where I know I can ride. And
well, some of those guys have mental coaches, don't they?
I think so. I think I actually remember when we talked to Scuba.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that those mechanics
are the mental coaches.
Are a huge part of their mental coaching, but I think they probably actually have real ones too.
It was it was definitely cool to see, and then Roxon almost freaking killed himself.
Yeah, that was gnarly. I'm sure all that flashback in his.
We got Jessy Nelson calling in, so we can talk about Ken Roxon too. Jesse, are you there?
Yeah, we live?
Yeah, we are live, dude. What's going down, dude?
Is it Hamel time or what?
Yeah. Are you drinking Hamels over there?
I just got home, mirroring to some bull crap, had to go to the bank. Just typical Monday.
Nice little quarantine day. Oh, DynoJet, Matt's in the house too. Sean Kelly said, what's up? What's up, Matt? Thank you very much for giving us this DynoJet Polaris XP Pro Performance Tuning Stage 2 tuning kit, man. We can't wait to give that away. So we were just...
yeah, give it this way.
You do have it. Did you follow the contest
Did you follow the rules? Yeah.
Dude, we have so many problems with people following the rules on these contests.
It's not too late if you didn't follow the rules.
I didn't see it. I need to check it out, but I called Temecula Motorsports today looking for some extra HPs, but they didn't have anything in stock.
All right, well, we'll talk later after the show. We can talk with Matt over at DynoJet and see what we can do. Get Jessy Nelson hooked up for his new whip.
Yeah, I want to be doing wheelies and glammers. That's what I'm trying to do.
You're one of those 12 o'clock boys in a side-by-side?
Some nitrous?
Yeah, I'm gonna break the rear taillights off that thing.
Sweet, dude. We can't wait to see some viral videos for that. Hey, so we were talking about Roxon almost freaking killing himself on that second to last lap or last lap at the track. Whoo-wee.
Yeah. I mean, that was a little hairy. It could have been a lot worse, but
agreed.
He pulled it out. He was fine.
Yeah,
so no big deal.
I can tell you for sure that these two guys that are sitting in this studio over here, we would have definitely wadded it up. We would not have been able to hold on to that thing.
I think, I think he got really lucky just the way he hit the tough blocks because they're super unpredictable when you hit them. Sometimes you can almost land on top of them and they don't move. And other times they just shoot out from under you and your wheels are gone.
Yeah, so he definitely got lucky. So what'd you think about the race overall? We were just discussing it, and obviously the track conditions were crazy, but what'd you think?
I was just thinking about it earlier this morning. I think the race was really boring, other than those guys kind of getting in there for a little bit. I think it seemed like a practice to them more than anything because they don't have fans or anything like that to kind of feed off of or get pumped or I don't know.
That's a good
Hard
point.
to say.
That's a really good point.
Put yourself in that position though. How would you have felt in the stadium?
Oh, I was a pro practicer, so I probably would have been better doing that.
You would have been ready to rip. What?
Yeah, no pressure, no thoughts. I mean, there is pressure. Don't get me wrong, but I would definitely think there was a lot less, or at least it seemed that way for everybody, and it probably just seemed like a time qualifying practice or something. I don't know, but it was. I thought it was really boring. I think the track was like an amateur all-stars track.
Yeah,
it was super easy. And they didn't put enough water down. I mean, it was windy, of course, but I mean, they can only do so much, but it was pretty blown out. I thought fairly quick.
So one of the things during, I think it was the first corner where you kind of go around that berm and you head towards those rollers before that triple. They had, at the end, I saw Zach Osborne. It was almost like a short course track where it was like all blue groove on the inside, and then it had like a little puffy berm that he was just blowing out with
Like
his
a
front
fluff.
tire.
Yeah.
Yeah, all he was doing was just hitting
Or
it
the
with his front
cushion.
tire, like just blowing it out and keep going. Like,
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, Osborne's the king of blowing stuff out like that, and just like riding every edge and every bit of fluff you can find.
Dude, he did a
But,
good job.
I mean-
He could have used a paddle tire in that little berm
Yeah.
section.
Yeah, like I was so pumped to watch the race, and then we all went to Peltier Winery and got a little group together. We all watched it on laptops at the winery, and dude, I was a little bummed. I was a little. I know it's the first race back. I'm sure guys are going to be like not 100% ready, or I mean not ready, but like I mean it's just different getting back into the swing of things. But I was a little disappointed in Kenny.
Yeah.
I think Tomac did exactly what everybody kind of expected. I just want to see more fight in Ken. I feel like he's just been kind of not laying over, but he's not been pushing like I think he should.
Well, how do you feel about, like, because I don't know that they made the wrong decision, though, because, like, had he or any of those guys, had any of them tried, like, super hard and fought super hard, I feel like they would have just peeled themselves off their bikes, man.
Yeah, but felt like he made that one mistake in the rhythm section. He didn't 3 out. He
Yeah.
went
Mm-hmm.
double single, and then he screwed up the next section a little bit, and they got a little gap on him, and then he was just like never. He was there. He was solid the whole time. Like
Yeah,
he was
definitely.
there. I mean, maybe it's a little tight, but he didn't put up a fight. Like it is the first round back, but like these races are going to go by quick, and I just hope he doesn't look back on any of them or any of those guys and be like, "Hey, I should have done this because this is make it or break it right now."
Yeah.
Like they're racing.
Jesse, do you
Wednesday?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Do you feel like there's any mental change in the middle of the race when they're like, "Hey, I got to do this again in 2 days or 3 days, whatever it is"?
If they get traction, I feel like it'd be way different.
Right.
No, I think it looked like a couple guys got a little bit winded. I mean, it's just they've been off for a while and
Right.
coming back to that pace. But you could definitely tell. Tomac and Webb were ready to go.
Oh yeah.
And I think, and it's not saying that Ken wasn't. He was just, I think he was caught a little off guard, or he was just a little unhappy or uneasy on the bike.
Have you talked to him at all, or is he kind of just busy doing his thing up there?
No, I don't really talk. I don't really try to talk to him about race stuff. If I do talk to him, I always try to keep it something else because everybody else he's got 30 other guys in his ear. You know, like that's the last thing I want to do is start saying stuff to him.
Yeah, just have some fun. Actually, what'd you think about Anderson? Anderson was a little bit impressive in my mind. I thought he did pretty freaking good, man. He was ripping at the end.
I couldn't really tell at the end, but I saw Osborne got around him. It seemed I kind of worry about Anderson sometimes. Like I don't worry about him, but it's just like he's not training with Alden anymore. Which I mean, he knows exactly what he needs to do, but.
He passed all those guys at the end, though, and got fourth.
Oh, he did? I didn't see that.
Yeah, dude. He like the last 2 or 3 laps, he was just like fire.
Damn, I didn't see that. But I don't know. I just worry about him. Like not saying you have to train with Alden, but I feel like he definitely holds you accountable for everything you do. There's no dicking off. There's no slack. There's no, I'm a little tired today. I want to save myself.
Yeah, and he obviously won his Supercross championship under Alden's guidance, so it's like,
right.
Who's he training with now?
I think he's just doing his own thing.
Oh,
Sucks for AC going down too.
Yeah, that stunk.
The beginning of that race.
I was bummed out.
The lights class race was pretty boring, but I got to give it to Pierce Brown because he rode unreal.
Dude, I was going to say the same thing. He really did ride really, really good. Oh, I was going to tell you, thank you for referring.
Start, didn't he?
He what? No, I don't know. I think he was like regular start, right? I don't think did he whole shot?
I don't know.
No, I think he went down. That's what I thought.
Oh, okay. Saying he.
And then made his way back to fifth.
Well, that's
Dude,
awesome.
he
Man.
was
I guess I wasn't
ripping
paying attention.
Yeah, I wanted to say thank you too for referring Derek Drake over. He's going to come on the show on Monday, so we'll have you call in next week too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm watching a GoPro clip of the track right now, and honestly, it looks like a fairground track to me.
It kind of does. That's a good way to put it.
It did, but didn't you think being all marbles and crappy and dry, at least it made it, I mean, not that we like it, but it seemed like it made it a little more even, I guess, for everybody.
I don't know, man. I really hope that they do something to the track.
One fast lane around the entire track, and it wasn't, I mean, the only place they were really passing, it seemed, was if somebody made a little bobble in the rhythm, they could counteract in the next corner. But where the mechanics area would be, where they cross over the start, that's like the main passing point. I mean, unless you're night and day faster through the whoops, like,
right.
It's hard to, I don't know, I feel like it's hard to be better.
Like when Malcolm Stewart blew by those two dudes. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, the Stewarts have definitely got their whoop game dialed.
Hey, so did you hear you hear who's helping Chase Sexton now?
Who?
The good old number 7. It's on Chase Team Sexton now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So he's been helping coach Chase.
That's cool.
Stewart has?
Yeah. Can you believe it?
No, I didn't even know that. That's wild. Just on the bike coaching?
Well, I don't know the extent of what he's coaching him, but I heard today in the press conference stuff that they were talking about after the race that James Stewart was definitely helping Chase Sexton. So that's a pretty potent combo if you ask me, because Chase is so Ryan Dungey-esque, you know what I mean? Like to loosen up and be a little bit more like James Stewart's going to be crazy to see.
No kidding.
Yeah, hopefully he can put together some more solid rounds. I mean, second place is not bad, especially coming back, and he had about a 10-point lead, so now it's back down to 8.
Yeah, that's pretty solid
7?
though.
Yeah, and I think he's a very consistent guy. I don't think I see him having a bad upset weekend, but hey, we'll know in a day or two.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. All right, man. We'll let you get back to all the stuff that you're doing. Thanks for calling in, giving us your rundown of Supercross. Hopefully the track gets a little bit better so they can rip next time.
Hey, Jesse, I don't know if this means anything, but no BS with Billy Slade says, "What's up, Jesse?" I don't know if that means anything to you.
Billy Slade.
Okay.
Billy's the man.
Yeah, Billy is the man.
I heard they're supposed to be they're not really going to change much on the track, as far as I've heard.
Interesting.
They got to get some freaking traction.
They're only going to change rhythm lanes.
Yeah, they do. Bring the traction in, can you?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe because it'll be a night race.
Dude, I don't know.
I guess they want to just change the rhythm lanes and a few other small stuff like that. But I figured they'd be at least turning it backwards or switching up some stuff. But I don't know. It's a quick turnaround to do all that. But give it a couple more rounds. I think that the moisture is going to start setting into the dirt.
Dude, those guys are softer. Those guys are all going to run tires that are like freaking bubblicious gum the next round.
Yeah. Super soft.
Oh my God. They're going to need to do something, or just soften the hell out of the suspension. But then the rhythm that starts getting tricky there in the loops too.
Yeah, exactly. All right, hey man, we got Brett Carpenter that's going to call in 30 seconds, so we'll let you get back to all your stuff. But let's. I'll hit you up this week, and we're planning on having you call in for Derek's show on Monday.
All right, yeah, I'll come talk crap. Tell Brett so well. You guys, thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks. Later, dude.
See ya.
All right, see you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Jesse, for calling in. That's pretty crazy to hear those. Like the way that they all interact with each other, you know what I mean? Like Jesse's a good buddy of Ken Roxon's, and they have a really good relationship. But it's kind of like what we used to talk about. Remember, like you don't have to talk about racing all the time. Like, it's funny because
when you live it.
Yeah. So how many times people like want to talk to RC, like talk RC with you, like 24? You're just like, dude, it's like I'm over it. Like, I don't need to talk about it anymore. I'm doing it so much. So, we got any more comments in there before Brett calls in?
Yeah, so I was going to mention Grant Owens was talking about it's the only reason he won the rugged giveaway.
Because he follows the rules.
He followed the rules.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, so if you guys haven't done it yet, go follow the rules right now just in case you entered and make sure that you like did it properly.
Yeah, and I'm going to butcher this name. Jason Stilgebauer?
Oh, we got
says, hey guys, what's happening, Jason? How you doing?
Brett Carpenter, what's going down, buddy?
What's happening?
How are things going up there in Phoenix, dude?
Oh, they're going.
I heard you guys had a haboob yesterday.
What's that?
I heard you guys had a haboob yesterday. For people that don't know, that are in our audience, what that is like a freaking dust tornado.
The mummy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually they start pretty far south down by you guys, but yeah, I think it just came across like the East Valley. It didn't make it as far north where I'm at, but I know they're going to start happening again. Pretty crazy. All sorts of stuff.
Hey, so we wanted to have you call in, obviously, because I just like talking to you. You're a good dude, but we want to just hear some stories about Craig Scanlon. You got any funny stuff?
Stories about Craig?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Stories that I can share, or
well, so
I don't know.
Let's backtrack a little bit then. So you used to work for Rigid Industries, and you're now the I don't know what the professional title is, but you're the race team manager for Polaris Industries, and Craig used to have a lot to do with that position or that area of Polaris.
Yeah,
and it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool because I don't want to say like, what's the right way to put this? Following in his footsteps, like you're seeing some of the stuff that he has done over the years, where he's kind of laid down this big framework, and you're able to see a lot of the stuff that he's done after the fact. You know what I mean? So maybe you can tell us some of the stuff that you see that was just so positive, because I know one thing that he's done is I don't want to say single-handedly, but he's been a huge, huge part of changing the side-by-side market and racing industry like nobody else, man.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Obviously, no secret what Craig's involvement has been and meant to UTV racing, UTV development. Specifically with the RZR. Obviously he has really, really built something massive, whether you're on the Polaris side or whether you're on you follow a different brand, or, everybody's pretty loyal to their brand preference, but, no doubt, obviously what he's done regardless across the board. For me, being able to come into Polaris, I get to see it kind of in a different light, and certainly see things, on the inside that, Craig and Craig's team, really, really built. So it's cool to I guess, continue on with what he built. And, it's not like it took years for this industry to get to where it's at now, and it's at an all-time high. Things are just crazy for UTV racing, UTVs in general. I mean, everybody's out riding right now, especially now more than ever with all the social distancing stuff. So, but it is cool to get to be in the position I'm in and work in the race division and kind of taking those reins and running with them. Certainly have a lot to big shoes to fill. Lots to live up to there, but it's pretty cool to see it from the inside, really see, and hear stories of, and I mean, it's not like he's gone. I mean, he's still a very, very big part of the company, obviously. And, doing incredible things over there for TAP and 4WP. But, it's just really neat to see where it's at and to hear stories of when he was working, directly at Polaris in the office and stuff like that. So, but the cool thing is, I mean, I get to work with his team and people that have worked with Craig for a long time. And so, his energy, obviously, and his, you can kind of see, their style of doing things that is still, they're still doing it the way that, they've done it for years, which is really cool. So, it's neat to see.
And you had the opportunity, and we'll talk with Craig a little bit more about this, but you had the opportunity to, I don't know what you want to say, get in at the on the ground floor when he started his race program, because working at Rigid, you guys were one of the main sponsors for his team, right?
Yeah. Yep. So that started, I think, back in maybe 14 or 15. I can't remember off the top of my head, but probably 5 or 6 years ago now, since he kicked his program off, which, if there's anything to know about Craig, I mean, he runs a tight ship. He runs a tight program, and he, what's important to him is professionalism and looking good and making sure that, he's representing his partners best way he can, which he always does. I mean, his car always looks good, his chase truck, everything. And so what was cool for at Rigid, the coolest part was to see this program come to us and really see it kind of present to us as if it was this big, elite, which it is. But people weren't really doing this in the UTV ranks, at least not that many. I mean, if any, he presented us this program that we were like, geez, this is like a trophy truck program, with the amount of assets and what he was putting into it on his side. And that was truly eye-opening just to see the quality of it. And so, for Rigid back in the day, that was just like, it was kind of a no-brainer, and we knew that it would be represented. We'd be represented well. And, and he certainly did that, and continues to do so. Everywhere he goes, his stuff looks good. His programs he keeps it tight, and that's what's cool.
It's super cool to see
that. It's always going to look good. Yep.
Hey, Brett,
it's kind of NASCAR-esque. You got a question?
Yeah, let me throw a question at you. First of all, Caden, Danbury, and Lucretia say hi.
Yeah.
And
hey guys.
Billy Slade says, how was the transition going from marketing at Rigid to Polaris factory racing manager? That probably isn't a quick one.
It's good. Yeah. No, it's a transition for sure. But, I feel the biggest thing is I feel really comfortable and working with the race program. I feel like it was there was a lot of challenges that I was going to be facing, but certainly was and am up for them. And the biggest thing is we just see the potential of how much bigger we can take this thing from even where it's already gone. And so just have some really, really cool plans and just big things in the work and different ways we want to take the program, from, whether it's from SCORE and BITD and then even looking at things, on the East Coast or in the Midwest and just where we can improve and get better and make sure that we have a solid presence. But yeah, it's a big task, it's not something that we're just going to do and flip a switch and everything's just going to take off to the next level. There's a lot of work behind it. We have a really, really awesome team. And that's one thing that's really important to me is working with a good team. We have there's certain divisions of Razor marketing that kind of all do different things, but collectively it's all part of the same goal, obviously. Yep. And that's getting more Razors out there and maintaining the position that we hold, and we want to be the best and stay the best. And, but racing has a lot to do with that. We gotta make sure that we're working well with our factory teams and collecting data from them and taking their feedback and bringing it back to our, to our team and making sure that we're giving them a product that we can expect them to go win races with. So it's there's a lot of moving parts, but it's pretty cool.
So one of the
pretty fun and honorable to be a part of it.
Yeah, I agree. That's a really, really cool. So,
yep, and you're doing your part, obviously.
There's two things that I think are cool here. The first thing is I think it's a collective of all of the things that are happening right now that I think they're doing such a great job. Well, here, let me preface this too, is that it's cool because the transition, to answer Billy's question a little bit, but Brett was already involved a little bit with Rigid, and he sees all these racing programs. He's at the races. He's doing all this stuff in the marketing and racing programs, and he has his hands kind of arm's length at some of these Polaris programs, and they were so integrated that transitioning over, it was probably a little bit easier. But the coolest part about it is he can bring a fresh perspective into these racing things. And then when you go to the second part of what I was going to talk about is collectively, there's a lot of manufacturers and different things that are pulling back from racing, especially with all this C19 crap that's happening right now. People are stopping budgets and doing this, but Polaris has always been, starting with Craig, go into the racing thing. We want to support these guys. We see these guys drive. We see these guys have such passion for doing these things, right. And that's why they go after these guys. And Brett's the perfect person to be in that position because he's able to see all that because of his experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah, appreciate that. No, I mean, the transition, and even to go back to Billy's question, what, to your point, was, it was refreshing to have people that I was already comfortable with, who I would continue working with. But then there's this whole other awesome group of people that I really had never worked with before, just due to different partnerships when I was in my previous position. So, working with, the Matlocks and Brendan Sims and Lambert and, just so many amazing racers that I now get to work with. I mean, I certainly feel privileged to get to work with these teams and these racers now. And so, the transition has been great. To answer the original question, it's been I would say it's been smooth. The biggest challenge has just really been adapting to a much bigger company like Polaris, as opposed to Rigid, where, I was working with 100 something employees as opposed to, the thousands of employees and corporate structure of Polaris. So, that's been the biggest change.
We think it's pretty cool to have that transition, though, because a lot of times when you and I have talked about it a little bit, Casey, a lot of times when you interject somebody, and Craig would be a perfect person to answer this, but when you interject somebody that's worked for a small company, or like, let's just say even a contractor that doesn't have to work in a big company environment, when they come in and they're fast paced and they're ready to go, they want to hit the ground running, they won't take no for an answer. It's like, go, like kill every day. They just want to go as awesome. Like, that mentality sometimes supercharges the next wave of things that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously big shoes to fill when you jumped into that, and you've taken your responsibilities, to heart. It's obvious.
Yeah.
So, but to let me get back to Billy here, to agree with Brett, the perfect candidate for the position. I'm excited to see the future.
Well, thank you.
And what he has to bring to the table.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good stuff.
And it's cool to see that
Appreciate
Brett
that.
always, he still has a good relationship with the guys at Rigid too. So,
Right.
What's the plan for you guys in the next few months then? Or we can ask Craig too, but as far as Polaris goes and racing and stuff, because I know that Score is still going to race, aren't they?
Yeah, I'd say the plan is that we're just, we're excited to get these races kicked off. I mean, I think everybody's anxious, and certainly ready to get back out there. I know there's been a couple small races. I know there was just a snore race this last weekend. Works kicked things back off, and I know they had some schedule shifting, but Works is coming to Havasu in a few weeks, and we got Silver State. So a lot of excitement just around the races just actually happening.
Yeah.
And then obviously the big one with Baja, getting down there for the 500 or 250 and then the 1,000. There's going to be a lot packed into a little bit of time. I mean, a year's worth, or I would say 10 months worth of racing packed into about 6 months. But we're all in. Yeah, exactly. We're all in the same boat.
All these guys are going to go out.
Anybody cares.
All these guys are going to go out and break the first freaking 10 miles.
Man, I hope. Well, the smart ones won't.
Yeah, the smart ones won't. Hey,
yeah, no, I mean,
Brad,
it'll be interesting.
We got Rob from Warfighter calling in about 45 seconds, and so
cool.
We had Alfonso said, "What's the most stressful part of the job? What do you do to unwind?" But I think I can answer that. You probably just hang out with your family as much as possible, huh?
No doubt. That's it, man. Just check out a little bit and clear the head and hang out with the family. And I mean, that's what we should all be doing during these crazy times. But
agreed.
That's all you can do. Just take it one day at a time.
We really appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much for calling in. Tell the family we said hello. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Brett.
Yep. You guys too. Thanks, guys.
All right. See you later, bud. Yeah, I agree with that. What he said, when he signed off, is like, it really does kind of bring like, we talk about all this cool stuff, right? Like the razors and racing and all this stuff. But like, when you think about like brass tacks, all this crap that's going on, like, it really, really does make a huge difference to be with your family. And definitely. Especially even in the racing portion. Wow, we got Robert calling in.
Most important part, yep.
Yeah, exactly. So Robert Blanton, what's going down, dude?
What's happening?
What's up, guys?
How's things going, bud?
Oh, it's going. Hanging out.
Everything going good over there at Warfighter?
Our curfew.
Yeah.
Darn it. Are you using a liberated glassware again? I'll never forget that one. I've got a lot of comments about that one.
So for people that don't know, Rob from Warfighter we had him on last week for the Memorial Day show,
yep.
And he had a couple cocktails, a couple drinks, and his words were, "I liberated this glass from
Saddam."
Yeah, from Saddam Hussein. So he took a shot out of that bad boy. That was pretty bitchin'.
Yes, sir.
Well, hey, so I wanted you to call in because we know you're good buddies with Craig Scanlon over there at, now Four Wheel Parts at Trans-American Auto Parts.
Yes, sir.
They help out Warfighter made quite a bit, don't they?
Absolutely. Our relationship with Craig and Polaris RZR and Trans-America Parts, aka Four Wheel Parts,
Yep.
has been really, really good for us.
It sounds like you got some funny stories about Craig right on the tip of your tongue, huh?
I got some funny stories about Craig. Before we kick off, I just wanted to lead in with Brett came into Polaris RZR arguably at a rough time for RZR, and he's been absolutely killing it. He walked up to us at King of the Hammers, and he was just like, "Hey, you're Rob from Warfighter Made, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, how you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, well, I'm Brett. I'm the new sponsorship coordinator for Polaris RZR." And I was like, "Oh man, that's cool." And he was like, "I was like, yeah, how long you been at RZR?" And he's like, "Oh, literally weeks." I'm like, "Oh, cool. How long you been at Polaris?" And he's like, "Literally weeks." And he's like, "Yeah, I came over here from Rigid." And I was like, and as soon as you said that, I was like, "Man, I know exactly who you are." So, and just to have him, come up and say what's up to, the Warfighter Made vets and stuff like that was really appreciated. And things have been really good, kind of gave us a little way ahead for what he's trying to do. And he just, reiterated it as, he really wants to get his racers out there. He really wants to put an onus on their female racers and their kid racers. And,
Yep.
and I thought that was really cool. That's super important. You got rad people out there like Sierra Romo and Lucretia and Maddie Wedeking and Shelby and everyone that are just really making a difference, and they're ready to capitalize on that, which I think is cool.
Well, speaking of all them,
go ahead.
Lucretia just said hello on online, as well as Caden Danbury, and Sean Kelly also said hello to you as well. So, yeah,
My man Sean.
He says, "Simplify,
Bring
Robert.
that.
Give us some Monday motivation." I think Robert always gives us Monday motivation.
we were actually talking about you before the show, Rob, and so we have we'll give all the details of it, but we have a new project or a new podcast that we're going to start that has to deal with motivation and stuff, and we were thinking about you big time. We were like, who can bring the level of the show to a 12? And Casey and I were like, Rob.
I'd do it right now, but I'd probably blow out your speakers.
So, the motivational speeches and stuff that you've given at like the UTV World Championship over the years, I'll never forget it, man. I wish we had like a professional film crew to film those bad boys, because those could be used on like the Joe Rogan Experience type stuff, man. They're super good. The
very first one I gave at the very first UTV World Championships, when we were presenting the Perseverance Award. And I get more compliments on that speech that I gave than any other speech that I've ever done. And I swear to God, I don't remember anything that I said from that. I pulled a total Will Ferrell from Old School or whatever that movie was.
I just blacked out.
I just did it. What happened? So
I remember, like, my dad and I were walking out of that place, and my dad goes, "How the heck did Robert learn how to talk so good?" I go, "He's just a badass, man." I remember the hair was standing up on the back of our necks. We're like, holy shit, he just elevated this thing to the whole new level, man. This is sweet. Everybody's going to come back next year.
Lucretia says Robert's the best speaker I've ever heard.
Dude, he really is. Where'd you learn how to do that anyways, Rob? I always wondered.
That's just standing in front of, hundreds of Marines, and they're not going to give you no slack. And if you start stumbling or hemming and hawing or whatever, that's it. You've lost them. And when you're talking to Marines like that,
Yeah, you got to be at
getting
a
ready
12.
to go into combat. You got to capture nation and you got to run with it, because if you lose them, that's it. And unfortunately, that could be life or death.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to be at a 12 all the time. Well, we only got a couple more minutes to speak with you. So do you have any funny stories that you've had with Craig over the years? I know you guys have been working together for quite some time now.
Yeah, well, Craig was like this mystical creature that would just appear out of the forest every once in a while, like a glowing unicorn or something like that. And I'm just like, who is this guy? But everyone that I respected in the UTV world had nothing but great things to say about Craig.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of love for Joey D and what he's done for the UTV world. And he always he talked about Craig like he was Santa Claus. Just this mythical gift giving, jolly old 5'4" just amazing individual. So,
if anybody knows Rob, he likes to throw little stuff in there. So if you didn't catch that 5'4" joke,
you're a great storyteller, Rob. Obviously, but I'm hearing the pieces of like a wonderful story if we had time.
For real.
Well, I'm blessed to be where I am, because what I do at Warfighter Made and my partnerships with Polaris RZR and 4 Wheel Parts aren't really tied to winning races and stuff like that. It's all about helping out, and as long as we continue to do that, things are great. So my funny story about Craig was, I got a bunch of them, but the main one was he took over Transamerica Parts. And his secretary called Warfighter Made and said, "Hey, we want to have a meeting with Warfighter Made. Come on in. Let's figure out what we can do." So we show up, and it's Joey D, it's Craig. We're sitting in Craig's office around his conference table, and we start this conference. And Joey D and I are like, "Well, we've been thinking about doing this and that, and this is how 4 Wheel Parts can support Warfighter Made." And the entire time, Craig is on his phone. And if you know anything about Craig, that dude's a multitasker. He's doing a million things at one time, and except growing an inch. But anyways, all of a sudden, he just stands up and he's just like, "Hey, I got to take care of some stuff," and walks out. So now Joey D and I are like, we're trying to refine these things that we were, kind of talking about. And we're doing this for probably 15, 20 minutes, and we're like so close to solidifying all these things that we were just talking about. And all of a sudden Craig walks back in. He's like, so this is what I'm thinking. 4 Wheel Parts, we're going to go ahead and build a couple vehicles on behalf of Warfighter Made for their vets that are wounded, and
Awesome.
Warfighter Made's going to pick them. And we're going to do this national level thing. And Joey, make that happen. And he walks out again. And I'm like, well, if that's what we were going to do to begin with, dude, I could be at Fatburger right now in Compton, Why'd you just drag me through this? But the other funny story is I was having, kind of before Brett got there, after Craig left and before Brett got there, there were some personnel changes there, and I was just having a hard time getting through to anybody over at RZR. And I ran into Craig at a race, and it was a Lucas Oil National race. And I said, "Hey, Craig, I need some help." And he's like, "Rob, everybody keeps hitting me up about the issues that they're having, blah blah blah. And, I'm not going to do this for everybody, but for you, I will do this because I believe in what you're doing." So he makes a phone call. 20 minutes later, I get a phone call from a high-level individual at RZR that was just like, "Hey, Rob, what's going on? What's wrong? I heard you're unhappy. Why is that? What can we do to fix that?" And I'm like, "Well, X, Y, and Z. Hey, let's do a conference call in a few days. Let's get this all taken care of." Conference call happens in a few days. At the very end of the conference call, this high-level dude at the very end was like, "Hey, Rob, great talking to you. I'm glad we were able to work this out. Hey, man, do me a favor. If you have any more issues, don't go to Craig. Just come to me because Craig's scary, and we don't like having to deal with Craig's wrath. So, Craig, I appreciate it, man. What you built at Razor will always be referred to as the golden era.
Yeah.
That was it. That was the pinnacle. And from here on out, everybody is just trying to get that back.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that so much, man. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's one of the things that we wanted to talk about with Craig during his interview is how much passion he put into that project during his time at Polaris was just fantastic. And to see the drive that both Robert and Craig have combined is like
unstoppable,
dude. Well, unstoppable, but because it's helping, like
right.
it's not
making a difference.
It's not just selling vehicles,
yeah, it's
right?
making a difference.
It's actually doing something good.
Absolutely.
So it just makes a feel good story, you
right?
know? So
Rob, there's a few people chiming in, if you don't mind, before we have you give us some good words of wisdom. Matlock Racing, Rob is such an awesome person. Billy Slades, if there's anything I can ever do to help out Warfighter Made, I'm 100% there, no questions. And DynoJet Matt says, hey, Robert.
Matt.
Yeah. So Billy's actually a really good dude, though. He'd be a good guy for you to reach out. I don't know if you already know him yet or not, Rob.
Yeah, we've been exchanging DMs. Yeah.
So he's a good dude.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He definitely wants to help out the community, and he has the same, heartfelt stuff for everybody else as you do. Did we lose Rob?
No, I'm right here.
Oh, okay.
What
cool.
you got? Did you ask a question? Sorry, I was drinking.
Were you drinking out of the glass that you liberated?
No, that only comes out on special occasions.
Yeah, like Memorial Day. Hey, so we're going to go to commercial break real quick here. We really appreciate you coming on and hanging out for a little bit, dude. It's always good talking with you. I'm going to be out in Southern California in late July, early August. So I definitely want to come down and maybe have a glass out of those drink out of those glasses that you liberated from Saddam.
Absolutely, I got that. And then Warfighter Made this Saturday is doing an Adrenaline Therapy Saturday. So all those rad racers like the Matlocks need to come out and provide support for us and give rides to kids and spouses. It's a really awesome time.
That would be really cool. And depending on where you are, even I'm sure Billy would come out if you invited him too, because he's got a really nice rig that he could use to give some veterans rides too. So it would be cool. It would be cool to have everybody go down there. So where's that going to be at, Rob?
It's going to be at Rex Fence Racing Off-Road Park in Anza, California. Anybody looking for more information, it's warfightermade.org /events. All vets, all eras, all branches. And if anybody wants to find out more about Warfighter Made, Instagram is @WarfighterMade, and it's the same with Facebook.
Yeah, and so definitely hit those guys up, because this is not just an event for the veterans. It's also an event for you guys, too. We see a lot of kids there. We see a lot of babies there, family time, and we get cool racers out there. There's some guys that you'd never, ever get a chance to meet at the racetrack because they're so busy, and they'll go out there and they'll help Rob and they'll hang out, so you might be able to meet them there, too. So thanks, as always, Rob. You're doing a kick-ass job, buddy.
Yep, we love it.
I appreciate the support. Love you guys. Love the Dirt Life Show. I love my off-road family. Thank you very much.
All right, homie. We'll see you later. Thanks so much. Tune in, and you can say hi to Craig, too.
Boom.
All right, man. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Dude, you were right. All the stuff we talked about at the beginning of the show, man, I need him on some more projects.
He's just an awesome dude.
Dude, he really is. And, yeah, I mean, all the comments that came in. Well, we're going to have Craig Scanlon come on in a little bit, but before we do, how comfortable are you with saying that these people follow the rules for this giveaway?
I think we're going to be, there's going to be way more people doing it.
Yeah.
So I think we're still going to have a percentage of not following.
Right.
But there's enough people like Grant and a couple others that I read that went, I'll never do that again. I did it like 5 times, and then, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. All right. So
I'm going to say it's going to happen once.
All right. We'll see. So we're going to give away this awesome DynoJet Stage 2 performance tuning kit. Matt Burke over there at DynoJet was gracious enough to give this. And I think these things are in pretty high demand, too.
Yeah, I was doing a little reading. It sounds like they're in way high demand.
So whoever's going to get one of
turbo.
these, they may or may not be on back order. So you guys can get your mittens on this bad boy. So let me get the
turbo.
Yeah, for the XP Turbo. And these things are actually super cool. I remember I didn't have an XP Turbo, but on my Polaris, I really, really could have used something like this because it was so difficult to flash the ECU and do all those things back in the day. So it's bitching to see companies like this come out with these products, and they have a little computer module that comes with it. They got all the clutch weights. They got the clutch springs.
I like that it's a one box buy.
There's two boxes inside the box.
But I mean, you walk out with one thing for stage 2.
Yeah. Exactly.
Instead of call this guy for that, call this dude for this. That's pretty awesome.
I see what you're saying. So you don't have to buy individual
No, you're
stuff.
walking out with just, okay, everything I need to do this weekend to make this thing stage 2.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
So, and they make your freaking car rip, too. So thank you very much, Matt, for giving this to us so we can give to the audience. All right, Case, are you ready to figure this bad boy out?
Let's do it.
So everybody can see we got the post pulled up right here. Well, here, I'll go back. Actually, I'm not going to go back because it's all the comments. But so we're going to go through the comments, and we're just going to pick somebody. So I'll just give her a nice little twirl, and then you can all right, go. Pick somebody. All right, we got Southern Arizona Classics. Okay, so Southern Arizona Classics.
Drum
All right.
roll. Drum roll, please.
Hold on. We got to see if they sent in I don't remember getting a message from this guy on our story, so we might have to go again. So let me look in the messages to see if we have oh, dude, no.
No. I said one.
Yeah. So I don't think he actually followed the rules.
Matt, these guys want this kit, but they didn't want it enough to read the rules.
Oh, Southern Arizona Classics. Man.
Bummed out for you, bro.
Dude, I'm really, really sad for you, dude. That sucks. Let's see here. So let me go back to the post, and we can get back on it and see if we can find some more people. That's terrible, man.
Robert said Matt donated a clutch and tuner to our Razor build for the combat wounded soldier. Double A game team, Tim Hall.
Oh, really?
Awesome.
That's cool. All right, we're going to do it again. So we're going to go from the bottom, and we're going to scroll up this time, see if we can find somebody. Go ahead. All right. I don't know how to pronounce that. Estreller 444. Can you read that?
Yeah.
Estreller
right.
444. So hold on. Let me see if they sent us a message. They're not even following us.
Take it.
Okay, so you automatically lose, bro. All right, let's do it again. Was once there.
Come on. Please still be there.
Oh, dude, they did it cool, too, because they put 3 comments of 3 people
Yes.
singularly. So let's see if it... Oh, their user's not even found, dude. Look, it says user not even found.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God, this is such a waste of time. You guys got to follow the freaking rules here. Okay, let's do it again, bud. Ed Guitar 210. Oh, it looks like he might have followed the rules. Ed Guitar 210. Let's see. Okay, so it says follow back, so we'll follow him. Ed Guitar 210. Let's see if he sent us a message real quick.
Come on, Ed. Please, Ed.
Yeah.
Let us make your day.
Ed Guitar. Dude, I hope he followed us, man. Or he Guiter. Dude, come on, fingers.
Imagine losing out on a stage and a free stage 2 kit. Agreed, Grant. Agreed.
Yes!
Yes.
He did it. So,
Sweet.
Ed Guitar 210, and all your screen name says is Ed. So, yeah, I'm glad that you messaged us. So
Your Razor is going to be so happy.
yeah, and he actually messaged us and even said, "I can't figure out how to share this to my story." And
Sweet.
so he was putting in the effort, that's for sure.
Yes.
So Ed Guitar 210, please message us as well. And if he doesn't message us, who knows how good it is at using Instagram? But you got to slide into our DMs and message us, man, so you can get us your name and email address and everything, so we can send that bad boy out to you guys. Dude, that's sweet, man. And if he doesn't, maybe we'll give it away again. So, all right. Well, thank you guys very much for joining in that giveaway. Thank you very much to Matt for giving that away. Really, really appreciate it. That's going to make somebody's freaking car rip. So, Stage 2 Performance Tuning Kit from DynoJet for a Polaris RZR XP Pro. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks again, Matt.
We're going to go to a commercial break, and we will be right back with Craig Scanlon. We'll see you guys in just a sec. Zollinger Racing builds the best aftermarket products available. Products for your UTV or snowmobile, including billet radius rods, billet tie rods, billet steering knuckles, billet steering racks, alternator kits, and much more. All manufactured in the United States in-house at their headquarters in Nibley, Utah. Travis Zollinger and his team test in some of the most brutal conditions, racing in places like the Best in the Desert Mint 400, Ultra 4 King of the Hammers, UTV World Championships, and many more. Visit ZollingerRacingProducts.com and use the code DIRTLIFE to get 10% off your next purchase, and join us on social media at Zollinger Racing Products to see our products in action. Zollinger Racing, the best products, period.
Hello, I'm Justin, the founder of Shock Therapy. Shock Therapy has been around for 5 years, but we have personally been tuning suspension on off-road cars and race vehicles for over 25 years. We tune between 10 and 15 cars per day, every single day of the week. Our concentration is tuning shock systems and supplying components that improve the ride quality of your car in many ways. Not only do we work on the average UTV, but we also tune suspension for race teams and professional drivers. We currently tune for over 87 race teams in Best in Desert and Score. Our clients and race teams rely on our suspension components to allow them to win races and keep them safe. Suspension is a moving target. We are always trying to hit that target with every customer that we work with. Each customer's needs can be different, and we tune our kits accordingly. Our research and development never stops. We improve our components every single day. As the industry evolves and improves, so do our parts and kits. As of right now, we have over 100 products for UTVs. So when you bring your car to us, you have the satisfaction of knowing that you have the most experience, the highest quality products, and the fact that your car is being tuned specifically to you.
Yeah, finally, we got Lance from Solderweld in the studio. Thanks for coming down, bud. Hey, why don't we just record a commercial now?
Yeah, why not? So good to be here, man. It's been a lot. I've been trying to get down here forever, and I wanted to talk about the off-road kit.
Dude, I love those things. I got it in my pack.
Yeah, we're running hundreds of vehicles now running them, whether it's a UTV or some guy's got it in a backpack on his motocross. He's got everything he needs to make a fix right there on the fly, out on the trail, or in the desert, whatever it is.
Well, since I've already used one, I kind of know what to use it for, but explain what it does.
All right, so let's pull one out real quick. You've got your aluminum rods. Remember, they're rods, right? So, light torch, small torch. You can throw it in there or throw it on the rig with your flux. It decontaminates and cleans like let's say a radiator. You get a random rock chip runs through as you're racing. You get a rock chip in a radiator. You got to fix it right there or you're out of the race.
You can patch it up.
You can patch it up. It's all good to go.
Yep, just like welding.
Yeah. Also, as well with that, you've got a brake line fix. So with your flux, you can fix a brake line, stainless steel. And then your hop lock, heat absorption putty. So it keeps you from getting burned, number one, as well as keeps the heat from traveling. So it's really, really nice.
I've used this not even to fix anything. So that stuff works so good, man.
Listen, it's easy. It straps in nicely so that you have everything you need in one little place, and you don't have to carry a big bag in
It's like a first aid kit for your vehicle.
Yeah, chase trucks have it as well, so that if they need to make a fix on the fly, they can get it done and get it done quick and get you back in the race.
Dude, those things are so cool. All right, so it's at Solderweld on Instagram, Facebook, and solderweld.com.
Awesome.
All right, thanks, bud.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. We are back. And we would like to welcome the man, the myth, the legend, Craig Scanlon. He's the president of Trans-American Auto Parts, which is four-wheel parts. He was the chief marketing and retail officer over at Polaris Industries for a while, which entailed a lot, like doing the off-road racing stuff. He grew up in Pennsylvania. He graduated from the University of Maryland, I think is right. He's an avid off-road racer with Score and Best in the Desert. He's won the Baja 500, which is a very, very big accolade. And Scanlon Motorsports Group is located in Phoenix, Arizona. And Craig continues to obviously chase his dreams to win as many Score and Best in the Desert races as possible. So we'd like to welcome Craig Scanlon to the show. How's it going, Craig?
It's going great, guys. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well,
and congrats to you guys. I mean, when I first talked to you, that was amazing. It was like, hey, I want you to be in the show. I'm like, sure. I'm thinking it's like in a week, and it's like, what now, 2.5 months later, I'm finally in the show?
Dude.
That's how booked out you guys are, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. And we were talking about a little earlier on the show, like, well, first of all, our off-road community is small compared to a lot of the other sports, stick and ball sports, or even dirt bike racing for that matter. So we have to obviously put it in perspective, but the show has grown so much, man. I'm stoked. Like, we're booked out until almost the end of August now. Like, it's insane. And now, I used to have to call and ask everybody if they want to be on this little janky show, and now people are calling us. So it's pretty cool, man. I'm stoked.
It's wicked cool. And I watched the show a couple times. You guys do a great job. It's a great format.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. So the main thing is that you and I actually talked about this a little bit during the week, is that people see you at the track, or they see, other people at the track, and people that we have on as our featured guest, and, they go, wow, I just had a conversation with that guy, and I could totally be friends with him, or now I feel like I know him more than what I've seen on social media. And that's one of the things that we really like to unlock on this show is, I've seen you around, but I don't really know who you are. I know that you have a fantastic job. You have a fantastic team that you work for, and you've done some very, very amazing things for the side-by-side industry. But who really is Craig Scanlon? Like, where did you grow up?
Grew up in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It's a steel town north of Philadelphia by about 45 minutes. Pretty small town, but not tiny or anything like that by any stretch of the imagination. But grew up in a town where everybody played football and wrestled. And played baseball in the spring. And so we talked about the whole off-road world and dirt bikes and all that good stuff. I mean, there's folks up there that do that, over there that do that, but it just wasn't really in the line of sight for me growing up. And, I didn't really do it until I joined Polaris, and I've been with the company now 17 years. So
that's
that was the time I've done anything. So
that fact for me is like pretty mind-boggling, because it's like, you grow up your whole life not knowing about this off-road world. Like, the reason that we started the Dirt Life is because Casey and I and other people that are members of the team have really kind of grew up with that. And Craig is the epitome of the Dirt Life now, but he didn't grow up doing that. So it's really cool to see that the different steps in life. Did you know where he lived?
Well, when he said Bethlehem Steel, right? Everybody knows anything about, yeah. That's like, right. Steelers, the whole nine, right? Everything about that. That's pretty cool. Lots of history out there.
So
tons of history. Cool place to grow up. Great place to visit. I mean, it's a beautiful place, but I wouldn't change. The West Coast is kind of where I want to be at, and for all the things I like to do, I wouldn't even know. To be honest, I wouldn't even know where to go riding there. I'm sure there's some places, but it's a lot of private land and things of that nature. So.
Well, one thing I remember about, we had to go to Pittsburgh 2018, and I remember them just having amazing sandwiches. Like, the sandwiches are mind blowing.
There are some pretty awesome places that you have to go out there. I'm sure he's got all of them.
Yeah.
We walked in, 16 or 17 below zero weather when I was out there for training one year to go to Permanente Brothers. And
that's where we went.
And I got the wrong sandwich, the one they're famous for, and it wasn't that good. And my buddy got some other one. And he's like, "This is the best thing I've ever had in my life."
Dude, I got that famous one. It had French fries on it. It had coleslaw on it. It was stacked up.
It was all right, but whatever he got was like hands down 10 times better.
Was it?
Oh yeah.
Do you got a favorite sandwich shop back there?
I grew up on the eastern part of Pennsylvania, so, Pittsburgh's on the western part. They're a little different than, we have the Philly cheesesteak deal, and there's always a big argument between Pat's and Geno's, and I'm a Pat's cheesesteak person, and it's amazing. They're right across the street, and they make them pretty much, it's the same exact ingredients, but everybody has their favorite, and Pat's is mine.
Whiz.
Paz is kind of like the soup Nazi on the Seinfeld show. If you watch that one, though.
Oh yeah.
When you walk up, you have to have your order exactly right, or they kick you
You're
off
out.
and they're like, "Get down the street."
I love
Dude,
it.
So
those are the jam. Those places are super cool because you can get back to work
Yeah.
so quick.
Yep.
yeah,
Perfect.
yeah. So
Well, growing up out there,
Super.
like, so you said that you did do stick and ball sports then?
yeah, that's all I did. I mean, I played football, I wrestled, and I played baseball all the way growing up, and threw a little basketball in there, but. As Rob said, I'm only 5'2" or whatever the hell he said. So, it wasn't real basketball. It wasn't real long lived for me.
Hey, Rob, I think your Polaris RZR budget just got cut, buddy.
Just to be clear, I'm 5'7" on a good day. So I don't know what Rob's talking about just because he's a monster. But yeah. So yeah, I grew up playing football was my main sport. I played football all the way up into college, and so yeah, it was always competitive, and that was kind of what really drew me to desert racing. I spent a lot of time with the guys from Jagged X when I was just doing a marketing role at RZR, and went to races and chased with those guys, and eventually got to the point where it was time to get in a car, and I actually navigated for somebody for a couple races and then switched to the other seat. So that's how the whole thing got started. I mean, there's a way more elegant story behind it where they came to me and said, we were launching a new vehicle and a bunch of our competitors had slipped on their launch dates, and they launched the vehicle, but then they didn't ship it for like 6 to 8 months. And one of the marketing directors, I was kind of a little senior level at this point, but one of the marketing directors came to me and said, we want to show the world that anybody can drive these things,
Right.
like literally anybody. And so we want to put somebody who's considered a suit behind the wheel and let them go race. And I'm like, this is a fantastic idea. Who do you guys want to do it? And they're like, you're going to go do it. And I'm like, and I'm not gonna lie, a little bit of me always wanted to do it anyway. So it's I hemmed and hawed for a little bit, but then jumped in. So, and they didn't realize at that point in time, they were creating a monster. So, once I got in the car at the first Parker race with Bill Schuler from Jagged X, I never got out. So, and it's been racing every year since. So,
Wait, first of all,
I should thank those guys.
First of all, we love that story, and we're going to get into it a little bit more.
Absolutely.
But
The comments are blowing up, man.
so we gotta mention that Lucretia's, I think, is the funniest one. She goes, "I remember your first race. I won."
She's badass.
Yeah,
Lucretia's
she
the OG.
is. Dude, she really is,
When
man. And they're just such an awesome
When it
family.
comes to female racers, she is the one, man. She was from minute one. She was out there, and with her family, and I just remember her being the one that always was out there racing, and Kristen and a whole bunch of other wonderful women racers. But Lucretia was the OG for sure.
What was actually Kristen commented too? What was her comment, Casey?
Chris said, Wayne Matlock and I, along with quite a few other racers, owe our racing careers to Craig. 100.
I think that's actually pretty a same statement across the board. Like, there's a lot of people that do. I've had a couple conversations this week with numerous people, Craig, that have knew that you were coming on the show, and they've all said the same thing. Like, wow, I can't believe that he's taken the time to do the show. First of all, it's awesome, and then second, to know that they are really understanding of the level of effort that you put in at the beginning. Like when Polaris said, "We want a suit to get in a car," like. First of all, it is an amazing idea, but that's also a little bit of a crazy idea too.
Sure.
So to hear them come at it like that and to see the success afterwards, hindsight's 2020, but it's pretty phenomenal, man.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I've had people tell me that to my face before, and it's so ridiculous because what I've gotten out of the relationships with the Matlocks and Sims and RJ Anderson and Lucretia and everything. I mean, that's they're like my group, right? I mean, everywhere I go, I'm spending time with people like that. They're my friend group, so I've gotten way more out of it than any of they've gotten out of it. So I'm more appreciative of all of them than they should be of me, for sure.
Yeah, that's a pretty humble thing to say. Well, let's take a step back real quick then. So when you were in Pennsylvania, you decided to obviously go to college. What was the I always like to understand this because when you're 16 or 17 years old, you always have this like either dream in your mind or you have no fucking clue what you want to do, right? So what were you thinking as a kid that was graduating high school being like, all right, I'm going to be a professional off-road racer, or were you thinking, okay, I got to go to college and get a degree?
Yeah, I was wanting to play more football. And, so for me, it was just, it was how can I continue to play football? And I knew I wanted to go to college. My mother was actually the first of, there's two people in my family that graduated from college at that point in time. And she was the first, and she went to night school being a single mom. And so watching her struggle and do that route, it was like, I have to go to college right out of high school and get a degree and put myself in a better position. It's funny because my son and I are talking about this now about, do I have to go to college to be successful? The answer is absolutely not, but it does open a lot of doors for you. But so I knew I wanted to go to college, and I knew I wanted to play more football. I had no idea what I wanted to be when I grew up, so I changed majors a couple times. And and my degree in accounting and finance, and I'll tell you, the CFO at TAP reminds me quite often that I'm not very good at accounting and finance. So, so Phil D'Souza, who I think is actually watching the show, he reminds me that I did accounting and finance a long time ago. But so when I went to school, I had no idea what I was going to school for. I just knew that a degree was going to open a lot of doors for me. Maybe get me out of that small town and it's funny where it's landed me at this point in time. So I knew I wanted to do something else. I just didn't know what that was at that point in time.
So we have this I don't want to say it's a running conversation because it differs every time we talk to people, but we always try to understand people because the show is called The Dirt Life. So it's generally just about people's lives, right? And Casey and I always think about this. We think this could be the smartest person on the planet. This could be a person that's not as smart. This could be a hard worker, a lazy, whatever it is. And generally speaking, when people work hard, they put their effort into it, and they're nice, and they leave a good following, it usually leads to some sort of successful path. And it sounds like, whether you knew it or not, you were leaving that same path, even though you may or may not have noticed or known what you wanted to do when you were graduating college.
Yeah, it was one that, I'll tell you, through my corporate career, I started out as a cost accountant, which was the most boring thing I've ever done in my life, sitting in a cubicle every day, taking a Post-it note and covering up the time on my computer so I wouldn't realize that it was going minute by minute while I was looking at it. I don't look at the time on my computer anymore these days. My job's a little more exciting than that. But, I would just say, for me, I just experienced so many different things throughout my career, from the career standpoint, that I always wanted to do more. When I was doing sales, I wanted to do marketing. When I was doing marketing, I wanted to do product planning. When I was doing product planning, I wanted to know more about engineering, and just always trying to not necessarily go back to school and learn, but always trying to learn on the run there a little bit. So, that was always a big thing for me. And it's been the same thing in the racing world too. I remember my first race when I was behind the wheel, like the guy who was co-driving for me, Keith, who's my co-driver and still to this day. And I haven't raced a single mile without Keith sitting next to me in 8 years. When it got dusty, we were going down Shea Road in Parker, and it got dusty, and I couldn't see, so I just stopped. I'm like, I can't see, so I'm going to stop. He's like, hey, man, you got to go. We're going to get run over here. You're going to get us killed. And I'm like, what do you mean I can't see? So, learn how to drive in the dust. But it's, whether it's in your corporate life or your personal life, just always trying to do a little bit more and kind of expand your comfort level on things is kind of always worked out for me so far.
Yeah, and that's the way we always think too, or we always try to see if we can reiterate. A lot of times when we talk to kids nowadays too, is we just always try to make sure that we tell them always moving forward, like always push forward, just always think about what's the next thing, because you can get so complacent, especially with all these different things that happen in social media and all this content that you can get around you. Like you never really get bored, so to speak, because you always have so much shit to consume. So
and if you're not a little out of your comfort level, you're not moving forward.
100%. And that's kind of the next transition that I wanted to talk about with Craig was, actually there's some comments that come in.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch.
Real quick before you move on, the one thing I'll throw in there with, being nice and working hard is loyalty. It's funny because all the folks that have been loyal to me, I'm loyal to them as well. And it's as you're going through life, it's real easy to be on somebody's good side or have somebody's back when times are good. It's who's going to have your back when times are bad, and making sure that you do that for somebody else too. People might get in the unpopular position at points in time. You got to pick the people who are going to have their back. Like I look at the folks that have worked with me for a long time. A lot of the folks at 4 Parts now are people that used to work with me back at Polaris RZR, and I brought them out to California. They moved to California and they work in Compton every day. and we're working at 4 Parts, and it's because they're people that I've been loyal to, and they know I'll have their back, and I know they'll have my back. And loyalty in this world is a huge thing, and having, finding the folks that will have your back, and you got to have their back too. It's
and integrity. It's doing the right thing when nobody's looking, right? And you can count on it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's easy to do the right thing when everything's going great, just like you said. Yep, those are character defining moments for sure.
Well, yeah. So I actually have a good understanding of that too, and it works both ways, right? So like we're talking kind of in a racing sense here, because we're going to talk about, like he's talking about an employee sense too. But in the racing stuff, I had achieved a level of getting a sponsorship by a certain manufacturer, and I had done everything 100%, and I had escalated what I was doing with them, and really, really done a good job in what I thought was happening. And unfortunately, it wasn't paid back to me. And so I was, not upset where I was, doing anything wrong with them, but I was a little hurt because that loyalty didn't come back to me when I thought I was doing a good job. And so it doesn't just work both ways. It's not like a manufacturer coming out and saying, oh, that racer was never loyal, like he's clipped or whatever. It works both ways. And Craig's position, and we'll get into it in a little bit, he saw that, and he goes out and seeks people that they can have that solid relationship, and a handshake means the world to those people. So it's really, really cool to see that he operates his business like that and his life like that.
Yeah, and not to downplay a racing relationship. It's a professional relationship.
Yeah.
No different than in any other profession. So it's very important. Anybody out there that's striving to make it, don't forget that it's just as big a stage as any other profession.
Yeah. What do they say? Like what your mom teaches you to grow up, do unto others as they do to you.
Yeah, the golden rule.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So let's see. We already did where'd you grow up, and then so to get into this whole motorsports thing, you started working for Polaris. Did you know that any of that was going to come, or were you just like, hey, I'm going to go down a career path?
No, I mean, I was working at a company called Ingersoll Rand at the time, and I moved out of finance and was selling construction equipment because that's what they made Bobcat and paving equipment, and actually sold drills into mining drills and things of that nature. And I got a call one day from a company called Polaris, and I knew a little bit about them because we had snowmobiles old snowmobiles growing up, and my grandfather, who was in construction, thought it was crazy leaving Ingersoll Rand, a
giant
number 7.
Yeah, a giant.
60,000 employees to go work at Polaris, that only had about 1,400 employees at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have Rangers and Razors and all that good stuff. So, but that's how I made the transition. I moved and was a factory rep for Polaris in Eastern Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Maryland. Covered those 3 states, going from dealer to dealer, and I did a pretty good job. And one day I got a call from corporate saying, we want you to come up here and work on some things here, and moved from Pennsylvania to Minnesota at the time, and
that's
my way up to there.
That's a pretty a ballsy move, actually. Like, you know what I mean? Like most,
Grandpa said.
Yeah, well, yeah, like most people would actually probably lean on the era of your grandpa, like understanding that. What was the passion or decision-making process behind that?
It was kind of just, I really like the products, and I know if I'm passionate about something, I will work 10 times harder at it.
Yeah.
And
amen to that.
Even though I didn't know much about ATVs and at the time watercraft and snowmobiles, it was like, this is something I think I can really get into. It kind of goes back to, I was super competitive as a kid, and as kind of am now too, I guess. But not having sports anymore in my life, it was something that I was like, I need something to put myself into. So I kind of knew when I took the role that I was kind of really going to get into the product. Did I ever think that, I would be, racing, score and Best in the Desert, with a relatively high level, golf cart team. I'll M&M I'm going to 8 Mile the trophy truck guy so they can't make fun of me. But I never once considered that part, but I knew I was going to get involved in a company who had products that I was going to be able to be passionate about.
Yeah, it's crazy that when
that's huge.
Well, when you do put your passion, like what was that? That was, when did you start working for Polaris?
2004. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
So just think about
2002. Sorry, 2002.
So just think about that progression.
Ooh,
That,
18
like
years ago.
if you
Crazy.
look at the timeline though, like that progression.
Yeah, of what it was to what it's now.
Yeah, and that's a short amount of time,
man,
right? But
absolutely.
so we'll get into that. Are there any comments that you want to say here?
There's so many. Yeah, well, I really want to catch up on these because everybody's listening. And can you roll up a little bit?
Jason Merrill said, "Where's the Wolfpack onesies?"
That's a good story, actually.
Is that something that we can say on the air?
It's just a stupid thing. We wanted to get adult-sized onesies and wear them to Camp Razor, and I told them if you got them, I'd wear one. So they actually had got me a Wolfpack. They got me a Wolfpack wrestling singlet one time, and I don't think I was in really good shape, so I couldn't get myself to put it on.
That was nice of them.
You had to get your wrestling body back.
Yeah.
Caden says you're always pushing him to do his best in school. It's the most important thing to him, and he's so thankful for that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So that says a lot about Craig as a person, because Caden is a Polaris driver,
right?
And he's a very smart young kid. But his mom is really, really 100% goal oriented. So it's good that Craig is also like that and helps him with that.
Rightly
too.
so, for sure. There was a couple of choice wrestling comments. I don't know if we want to go back to them or not. One of them was Rob. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, we'll leave that one out.
Yeah, you can just read those last ones. Blake Vanderloo.
Yep. Let's see.
Oh yeah, professional relationships.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
in that case, I have no Craig stories.
Professional, right. Robert.
I like to have a little bit of fun every once in a while. So I'm sure there's quite a few stories out there. The Caden one, going back to that one real quick, is when I started my team, I wanted to bring we called it Scanlon Motorsports Group for a reason, because there's only one of me so far, and it was like, let's grab some junior kids and bring them in. Caden was the very first one, because he was always the kid at every race would come up and want to get a picture taken with me. But it wasn't just that. It was his whole family. He'd come up, but he'd have a real conversation with me, and I was always so impressed by him that he was the first kid we brought into SMG as one of our junior racers. And now we have 5. And, we also actually this year started a junior race program we call it the 4 Parts Futures team. And, Cash LaCroix and Caden and Ethan Groom and a bunch of kids that we brought on. And we're paying them money. And they're part of the 4 Parts official team and also part of the SMG team. So 4 Parts pays them, and then I pay them separately. And the only rules we have for them, they said, well, what do you want our logos to look like? What do you want this to look like? I said, I don't even care if you run a logo. There's 2 things you got to do. If I get a bad report from your parents that you're not behaving and being nice to your sisters and brothers and not being respectful to them, you're out.
Awesome.
The second one was every quarter I need to get your grades.
Oh, cool.
And Caden was the first one I did that with, and it was every single quarter, if I don't get your grades and they're not suitable, you're out. So those are the 2 big rules we have. And outside of that, I don't even care if they run a logo. It's about them putting themselves in a better position for the future. Everybody says, what's the best way for me to be in a position to pay for myself to race when I'm older? Well, get yourself a good job so that if you want to be able to pay for yourself, you can.
Yep.
There you go.
And sponsors will come at that point if you're doing well. So
yeah, and if the passion's there,
yep,
like you say, and representing yourself in the correct way.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. We've talked with it a little bit, and you might be able to expand on this. I'll run through an example because it was me personally. So when I wanted to get into short course racing, I didn't have the opportunity to do it because it was so financially draining. So I worked with, I have a little advertising agency, and I built websites and stuff, and I worked with Casey Curry for a little bit. He let me drive his Pro Light truck, and I said, wow, I really want to do this. And this was kind of the same time you started, like 2008, 2010 area, and I go, there's no way I'm going to be able to afford this. So for me to be able to get into it, I had to do something that was, I don't know, mind altering or whatever you want to call it. So I decided, since I can't walk very good, maybe I'll try to ride my bicycle as far as I can. And so I started riding my bicycle, and I had to work on this. I had a goal in the end of 5 years to be able to get somebody to help me pay for a side-by-side. I saved up half of the money, and I saved up, and I got a company, Supercuts, during that 5 years, which is a haircut chain, to give me the other money to be able to pay the other half. And I bought a Polaris RZR UTV Wolfpack car. And so it took me 5 years to be able to get to that point where I could actually afford to actually buy a side-by-side, let alone race it. So it was really cool to have those people that were very like-minded like you, at the UTV Wolfpack to take me under their wing and to show me all those things and understand that I worked that hard to be able to get to that point and that I was going to put in the effort to do it. So when you say stuff like, you know, I don't care if you run a logo, that's the same stuff that the Wolfpack guys said. They just said, work hard.
Right.
So it's
right,
really,
I love that. And that's awesome. That's a great story. And that's very important for a lot of people to hear. You know, you set yourself a goal and it didn't happen overnight, but you worked towards it. You never gave up on it. And I think there's just so much now where folks go out and they race one race and they go, where's my sponsorship? You know,
Right.
and, you know, it's not just about that one race, or it's not just about, hey, I'm a really good rider, and so now I'm going to go race next year. Yeah, I need you to sponsor me. You know, go out there and earn it, you know, and put the work in. And, you know, that's the best folks on the Polaris team that I see. They're all people that have spent years racing and building themselves up and putting a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and their own money into programs until they, you know, and we're not talking about people with millions of dollars either. We're talking about people who, you know, will, you know, work all day turning wrenches and then go home all night and turn wrenches. And those are the people that I find to be the most successful, because once they do get a little bit of funding, holy crap, they take their levels that much higher, you know,
Level
and their
up.
programs go through the roof, right?
100%. And that's what is nice to be able to understand. Like, and we'll talk about your path that you went on too, but it's nice to be able to understand that about you, that you can actually see through the glitz and glamour of what people try to put, you know, like I said before, like, people want to know more than what's on social media, and that's what you look forward to. Oh, thank you very much for the comment, Jason. He said that George busted his ass to race. I really appreciate that. What were the other comments that came
to
in?
that point, Robert Blanton chimed in and said, you've always been willing to step out of your comfort zone. It's easy to toe the line. It's difficult to seize an opportunity outside of the comfort zone or to blaze a new path. That's pretty cool.
That is really cool. I wonder if do you have any examples of that comfort zone? I would assume that them telling you that you had to get into a Polaris RZR and be the suit, like you did in quotes, like,
even though you wanted to.
Was that
you know, I mean, throughout my whole life, it's all. See, I always tell people to take calculated risks. You know, you know, taking blind risks, I don't necessarily recommend, but calculated risks, like you know, leaving accounting and going and saying, okay, I'm going to go into sales now. Not necessarily something that most people do, but for me, it was a calculated risk. Moving from, you know, being out and being a factory rep for Polaris and moving all the way halfway across the country and taking a corporate job at Polaris, that was a calculated risk. You know, leaving Jagged X when I was racing for them and starting my own program, you know, that was a calculated risk. You know, there's just, you know, I would just tell you, it's, yeah, if you feel a little bit uncomfortable, feeling a little uncomfortable is great. Feeling massively uncomfortable all the time, that's not a good recipe for success either. But a little bit of discomfort, a little bit of stress actually makes a lot of people better. So, and it makes you able to take your stress levels up. Meaning, everybody's always like, how do you handle, you know, 1,900 employees, and then you in the race program, and two, you know, 14-year-old and 11-year-old son, and how do you handle all of that stuff? And I'm like, well, I don't handle it well all the time, but I think over my career, the stress has gone up, you know, and I've been able to. It's like a muscle. I've been able to build up to it, you know. You know, like Jeremy Merrill has massive biceps. He didn't have massive biceps the first time he picked up a weight. He built up to those biceps. You know, I've done the same thing with like stress levels, and I think if people would just take a little bit more stress, not from 0 to 100, but just keep knocking it up before they know it. The stuff that used to stress them out doesn't stress them out anymore.
That's true.
Dude, I agree with that 100%. I grew up like following him in racing motocross, following Casey sitting right next to me racing motocross and stuff. And the things that he would do would always stress me out, because I would be like, now I have to do that. Or like, what the heck, man? So he was a really big, I don't know, culprit of me increasing my stress level all the time. But I can agree with that wholeheartedly.
Instigator.
Yeah, instigator. So there's two things that we want to talk about in the next transition. And Jason Merrill just commented in and said that you're a huge part or reason why the industry has, you know, grown leaps and bounds. And I definitely agree with that as well. But I kind of wanted to break that down into a couple pieces. And before we talk about the little things that you've done and the way that you worked with all of the racers and stuff, is there something that you can kind of expand on in what you just said to tell people working with 1,900 people, having a family, and doing all these multitasking things like what Robert Blanton said on the earlier portion of the show, and still getting these things done, does that help, or is there any transition that helps SMG or the racing program? Like, can you plug them together?
Yeah. I mean, my boys, just recently have started spending a lot of time with me in razors and things like that. So that part's starting to cross over. And now that the boys are getting older, going down to Mexico and tree running and racing is going to be something we're really excited about. But to be honest, I mean, I'm very lucky. I have a great team down in Glendale, the program's pretty much run by Keith Redfern, my co-driver. And Greg Forsberg is my chief mechanic, and he works on the car. A lot of what I have, I mean, I have a great team at Foro Parts. I have a great team on the race team, and I would be zero without either one of those teams. If I had to do everything at Foro Parts, that place would be a disaster. If I had to do everything for the race team, that would be a disaster. And the fact that I've been lucky enough to have relationships and find people in both areas that have maybe made me be able to do the things I love to do is just a blessing, so to speak. And but as far as the racing stuff, I mean, Joey D, it's funny because he always explains it. He explained it to me the best last year. If I was to take vacation and go sit on the beach, I would pull my eyeballs out by the second day.
Yeah.
He said, because I would be thinking about work and all the things I have to do and all the things I didn't get done and all that good stuff. He goes, you need to be in a race car, with zero chance to think about anything else except that race in order to relax. He's like, that's your getaway. So racing, the blessing of it has been.
So let me interrupt you real quick.
That.
Have you seen the Laird Hamilton documentary?
Oh yeah, I saw it in person when they launched it at Cameron's place.
Yeah. So what you just said is exactly how he operates. It's exactly the same way. Like, there's a lot of people in the world that are very, very similar to what Craig just said, that unless you have a complete focus on where you're going, you can't really relax, and we just actually had somebody just chime in too. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Jason Stilgabar. Craig is so focused and driven. It's inspiring. So goes along with what you just said wholeheartedly.
Appreciate that, Jason. Jason's a good dude. Jam and Jay.
Jam and Jay?
He just did my he just photographed my 68 Bronco out of Johnson Valley a couple weeks ago.
Dude, I want to talk about that thing. That's for sure. And
he's the one who got me to get it dirty. I wasn't going to get it dirty until he kind of coaxed me into it, and I fell for it. I fell for peer pressure that day.
Dude, so there was so much dust in some of those videos and stuff. Were you just covered?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
man.
Yes. and the inside of the vehicle was pretty covered too. Thank goodness for detailing.
That's crazy. So, yeah, I'm sure that the inside of the car was hammered.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't mean to interrupt you if you had a train of thought that you were going on there, but it's pretty awesome to see that and to understand that. And for me especially, because I've been thinking about trying to get in the race car to give myself a little bit of therapy again. I'm a little scared, honestly, and not scared because I don't think that I want to do it. It's because I'm a little bit scared of maybe kind of like what you thought when you first got in your first race car. Like, what if I make a mistake, or what if I can't do it the way I used to be able to, or what's new, or these certain things that are going to pop up. And I know that you've had those same things happen in both racing and your professional life as well. So what advice can you give me or some of the people that are watching to be able to push through that?
Well, I think there's different levels of success, right? I mean, if you're Wayne Matlock and you don't win the Baja 500 next month, that you view that as a failure. But for other people, it's just finishing the Baja 500.
Yeah.
Or Ironmaning a race. And I set different goals for my team too. Our first goal is to win the race, and then as the race is going on, all right, let's get in the podium. Let's get a top 10. But there's been other races where it's like we've blown 6 belts and because we didn't have the clutches lined up right or something like that, and it's like it's like we're going to finish this race, and we we might finish dead last, but we're not going to put the car on the trailer. So I think for anybody racing, set a goal that you can hit, not a challenge, but something, and something that you can control. Like you can control finishing a race.
Right.
Your first time out, I'm going to finish, and then work your way up from that. My first time out, I was like, I'm just going to try not to get myself killed here or get anybody else hurt, and I'm going to finish this race. And before you know it, the third pro season we were in, we finished third on the podium in Best in Desert in points, and we did a lot in between there to get better. But it's just set a goal and go get it, because that's the beauty of racing. I love racing because, in a side-by-side race, in some of the races, there's 100 side-by-sides to line up to. There's only going to be one winner, so it's going to be hard to win. So you got to figure out what works and set a goal and go for that goal, whether it be finishing top 10, top 3, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm losing you guys.
We're good. We had a couple comments coming in, so we were checking them. There's actually,
you got me thinking. I'm thinking a lot here.
Robert Blanton's comment isn't directly related to this, but it's still the same thing. He said, racing is a getaway, and he would put a question mark on that. And he said that's exactly what adrenaline therapy is for those veterans as well. And we got a couple more. Thank you very much, Kristen, for giving me support. Lucretia said that her goal is just finishing Baja. That's a win for her. And Seth Quintero just commented in too, Craig. So first of all, it's really cool to see all these people so supportive of you. It's really nice to see. And one of the things that I actually forgot to mention before when you were talking is when you talk about having a great team and all that, a lot of that is related. I actually told Casey the same thing last episode. A lot of that is related to the way that you deal with them. You deal with the people, and you have to really give yourself a pat on the back sometimes. Like over the past year, since I've had so many injuries and so many different things happen, I've been on an emotional roller coaster. So I'll get up in the morning, and instead of being a cocky asshole, I'll just give myself a pat on the back and be like, dude, you got this today. You really did good. Like, you're doing an awesome job. And I think that a lot of people on your team, a lot of people like yourself, really do that very, very well. Yeah.
Whether it be at work or the race team, and I'll tell you that my race team, the guys from Arizona, they it's crazy to me because everybody's like, you must pay these guys so much money to go out there and race, and I don't. We have lots of Coors Light. We have and we always have great gear for the guys, and we always feed them really well. But it's just when Keith and I kind of started the program together, because when we decided to start the own program, of course it was my program, but we were doing it together. And one rule we had was we're going to have fun and we're going to be a family, and that's kind of the way the team is. It's between all the guys and their wives and their kids. It's I watched Greg Forsberg, our mechanic, or I would say crew chief. His son was getting inducted into the military last week, cool. Right around Memorial Day. And he was wearing an SMG shirt when he was doing it.
Oh wow, that's super cool.
And that's the kind of stuff, right? It's amazing. We never thought we would, it's just a little race team, and there's so many of them out there. That's the coolest part about off-road is we're just one of the hundreds of these cool little race teams that are these little families. Yep. Look at the Matlocks. The Matlocks are a husband and wife duo. It's arguably the most successful racing team in side-by-side history, along with Jagged X and a couple other folks. And the guys and gals that race with them do it because they just love being around Kristen and Wayne and being a part of the race team.
Yep.
How cool is that? In a world where everybody wants to get paid for even just looking at something or posting something.
Totally.
There's still people out there kind of doing things for the soul of it.
Yeah, that's going to get us into our next topic. But
well, before we go, Craig, I got to tell you, I'm listening, and in my professional side of life, there's lots of leaders, and these are just some major leadership skills that I'm hearing out of you that you probably don't
100%.
even realize it, and that's the draw. I mean, the relationships you're building with everybody, professional and personal, those are huge, obviously, but there's also a reason why people are gravitating to a leader. So hats off, man. I don't know that matters or not to you, but I'm listening to it and I'm like, wow,
it means a lot.
It's there's a reason why you can have, what is the number, 1,900 people,
yeah,
believing in the goals you set. So It's huge, man. It's again, hats off.
It really is. And then so to go,
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
To go into what one of our listeners said, Alfonso said, what is something that you would recommend to someone that's wanting to get into the industry? Well, I think he kind of answered your question a little bit, Alfonso, right there when he was, making the last statement is a lot of the guys that are in the industry, and I know he's asking because he wants to probably be in the racing portion of it. A lot of guys just go to the races. They hang out. They help. They just have a good time. And then, maybe something happens. If not, then they enjoy themselves. And Alfonso, you get to go with me to Texas this next month. So enjoy that. Have a good time. Do a good job and see where it goes, man.
And to their point, and the proof's in the pudding here with all these thousands of comments that I can't keep up with. Sorry, everybody. Is that Alfonso? It's about the relationships.
100%.
100%. And I'm sure Craig would attest to that. Yeah, we want you to finish well, but at the same time, did you represent the brand well? Did you represent yourself well? Did you represent your partners well?
As you always say,
more
Casey,
important,
do you come back from the moto and throw your helmet? Like that's the worst thing to do ever, man.
Absolutely. Yep.
Never ever throw a temper tantrum when you don't win a race.
Well, just do what you're doing. Like the whole industry with one set of eyes is looking at you.
Yeah, dude.
If you thought that every time you did whatever you're doing, you'd make the right decision.
Well, unless the person that said that he wanted to say some stories about Craig, who was that, Blake Vanderloo?
Yeah, Blake doesn't get a voice in this show. I'm out if Blake can start talking.
Sorry, guys.
So, as all this stuff is so meaningful, I'd like to get onto a subject that's a little bit more cooler in my mind that I really want to know. So, how did it feel to put in all that work with the race team and to have your guys sit on the top of the podium at the Baja 500, man?
So cool.
It was a weird deal, too. We didn't find out until the next day because, the Murrays and unfortunately had a penalty. So we were in second, but the next day we found out I was literally in La Bufadora in my rental house, and all the guys in the team had taken off to go home. And then Score called me and said, "Hey, by the way, you won."
Oh,
what? I thought, it was like, it was one of those where you hang up on your buddy and say, "Screw you."
Yeah.
Talk about. So we literally, found out on the ride back, and we later had a big party at the race shop, which was behind Keith's house in Glendale, and properly celebrated it privately, I would say. But it was one of those deals where it was so funny because leading up to that race, we had so many issues with the car we were racing then, and Keith, my co-driver, and Greg and those guys it was just so many sleepless nights, and they were so stressed out. It was getting to the point where I'm like, man, I'm taking my best friends in the world and putting them through hell, and is this really worth it? Should I just sell everything and buy a badass pre-runner, and we should go pre-running and then go home when the race starts?
Yeah.
And it's so funny how things happen too. It's like, the whole never give up thing and stuff. But then, out of nowhere, that race, I had in my head that day, it was like, I'm going to race smart. And somebody else that I was pre-running with had said, just be smart, and don't try to win the race in the first 100 miles. And we kind of just raced a little differently than we had raced before that, and our team all day long, they said, you're top 10. You're top 10. I'm like, how are we doing? Top 10. You might be 7. Even when we were coming into the infield to finish the race, because it started at Stero, we were coming in the infield, and they said we were 7. And Keith never lets me jump the car. He never lets me have any fun in the car. He's always next to me and saying, chill out. Well, the infield there is kind of a little bit more like a Lucas course.
Yeah.
So we got into the infield at the very end of the race, and he's like, all right, go have some fun. And I go into a kind of a 180 turn, and I put it up on 2 wheels, and it bikes for a while, and then it sets back down. He said, okay, no more fun for you. and we literally had won the race by 30 seconds, I think, a 13 and a half hour race, and we won by 30 seconds.
Wow.
And if we'd have put the car inside
totally.
At that moment, I would have burned everything I owned after that if that what happened. But so it's just funny how things work out. And we got to the finish line. There's a couple folks there, and they said, we think you have it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You just told us we were 7th.
Yeah, what?
And they said, well, we didn't want you to get all worked up and drive over your head and break the car. So
blow it.
Yeah, in hindsight, they're probably way smarter than I am. But it was weird. We came to the last pit stop, and they were all on the road, and they were like, it was, I don't know, it was 2:00 in the morning or whatever the hell it was, and they're all, my whole team, because I bought them red jackets already. All you saw was red jackets, and everybody going crazy. And I'm driving. I'm like, Keith, what are they all worked up for? He's like, I don't know. I guess we're close to finishing or something.
You're like, yay,
But
7.
Super pumped on the number 7 or what?
But they knew something we didn't know.
Yeah.
So, but it all worked out, and it was a pretty big deal. And but it's one of those things where it's just one race. It's I talked to Wayne about it quite a bit after the fact, and I was just like, how have you won like 8 of these? Like, it took everything in our whole team and every bit of driving I had to win 1. This guy's been doing it for 20 years and has like between 500 and thousands, I think like 10. Like, man, I don't know how some of the folks that, and you go to like the Larry Raglins and all those folks that just have multiple ones down there. I mean, for me, that's a career achievement there. And for other folks, it's just what they expect. And it's funny because now,
for most people, it's bucket
year,
list.
We're kind of expecting it,
Dude, you should though. You deserve it too. You deserve to be expecting that though. One thing that I want to say though is like kind of expand on what you were just talking about. Like, you still you put a lot of work into getting to that point. It was 3 years in the making?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, like, that's a lot of hard work.
So rewarding for that whole team, that everybody put into that.
Rewarding, but just think about how many times they went home, crying about it. Like, oh, man, we broke or something happened. Like, and then they finally get the victory. Like, I just wish that everybody was still there down in Estero when you got that phone call, dude. It would have been epic.
I know.
Did you turn it around on them? You should have turned it around on them. You probably did. Hey, guys, 7th or 2nd or whatever. How about we win?
I did call Keith, and he was in the truck with a bunch of guys. I'm like, apparently we got penalized, and I think we ended up like 4th or something like that, man. And he was like, really? And I'm like, no, we actually won. They didn't even know what to believe. So, but no, it's one of those things too. It's now it's kind of, we have a new car. We raced it at the Mint. We're dialing that thing in, and we're kind of ready to go. And with me living in Minnesota before this, I never could really put the time in to go pre-running in Mexico. And I'll tell you, the pre-running is so important. I don't know if you guys know Erica Sachs, who has Waypoint Navigation. We pre-ran with her last year, and her notes. So we pre-ran a lot. And then on top of it, we bought notes from her. And if anybody wants a leg up or wants to get ahead at all, I mean, having every little bit you can get. I mean, but the work she does to kind of really mark things off, and along with whatever you mark, really helps out. So she helped out a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people that went into it. But we're super excited now that we can actually race score, because now living in California, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump to go pre-run. Whereas before, I'd be flying from Minnesota to Arizona, get in a truck, drive 7 hours to Mexico, and just didn't work out. So we always just race best in the desert. So we're super excited to race a full season in Mexico this year.
Yeah, and it's not like you weren't busy.
If it ever happens, that is.
Yeah, that's cool though. Well, isn't the 500 at the end of July?
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's still happening, isn't it?
For sure. Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Super excited about it.
That would be pretty good. Do we have some comments come in, Case?
Yeah, the Matlock boys say hi, Wyatt and Clayton. Say hi to Craig.
Oh, yeah, and Caden Danbury also says that was a well-deserved win.
Well-deserved.
Just imagine, Caden, like if you were racing in the desert racing scene instead of Works or Short Course or something, and you had to wait 3 years to get a win, man, that's got to be pretty gratifying.
And if you do, you got to do the same thing that Craig did and do the Big Daddy with the little kid where he's got the cards.
Yeah.
Like 3 and a 5 and a 4. I win. That's what I was thinking of when you were saying that. I win. What's the name of this game?
Yeah.
I win.
See, the coolest part about some of the cooler things is like that race, the number of people that texted me and called me, and the next day just driving back, just how many people, because we've finished on the podium and stuff before, but number of times, and we've gotten close, we just never gotten through, and the number of people that reached out meant so much to me. Caden is one of them. Caden was doing video messages to me until like 2 o'clock in the morning. He's on the couch, he's half asleep. He's like, "I think you're gonna do it. You're looking really
nice."
And it's so funny how the little things like that really make a lot of this stuff for me. So So it's cool.
Yeah, and Billy Slade commented in, Craig, thank you for being such giving such insight into the person that you are and being such a stand-up guy for the racing community. Well, I don't think he's just a stand-up guy for the racing community, because he has a few people that help him out at and his team at Four Wheel Parts, and when he has working at Polaris too. So
here's probably a blast from the past. Bob Hawkinson said, "Lots of fun memories shared here tonight. I miss hearing Craig stories from the road on Monday mornings at the office at Polaris."
Yeah. Bob, the company he works for used to shoot, well, they still do, but they used to shoot all of our videos and commercials for RZR. Like if you saw a launch video for a new RZR or a commercial, Bob's team was the one that did that. So we would sit down and have a lot of creative meetings. And Bob's another guy. Like, he's back in Minnesota. He has no idea what the whole off-road racing world is or anything like that. But every single time I was going to race, until this day, even though we don't really work together anymore, he'll always say good luck today, and all that good stuff.
Oh,
so racing's kind of a cool way to stay in touch with people too. It's not just.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Kristen also said, Erica Sachs from Waypoint Nav. It's neat to have all those people around you and to be able to understand that, man. Lane, I can relate to that too, because when I started doing the Lucas stuff, I didn't really know about like desert racing. I kind of just knew about the Lucas stuff because of my motocross background. And I was like, man, who can I, have help me? And then when I got the opportunity to buy that car from the UTV Wolfpack, I'm like, I'm not building a car. I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to listen to these dudes because
go with what works.
Yeah, they already were winners. I mean, they won, I think, 6 or 7 championships for Polaris, and
awesome.
And they did a really good job. So it was really, really cool. So when Craig's talking about having good people around, even when he just mentioned Erica's name and the Matlocks and stuff, like that stuff is just amazing to be able to surround yourself with such good people.
Well, think of back to Bob, the photographer guy or whatever he was. I guarantee you, him being around you, you just kind of it probably just came out of you that you were so passionate and so driven, and you were going to do it the best you could, that I'll bet every time you guys worked with him, he did that shoot the best he could ever do it. Just when you're around those kind of people, that's those leadership skills again.
Dude, I kind of wish I heard some of those stories that Bob's talking about.
Yeah, well, there was probably some meetings where they got very frank feedback. That's all I can say. It was those videos were always fun because it was weird because I was one of the few people that in the room from a marketing perspective that knew exactly what the car could do. Right. And I'd be like, make it do this. And they'd be like, I don't know if you can do that. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you can.
Yeah, you can.
So.
Well, since we're having so much fun talking about all these stories, maybe you can answer a couple questions like, what's a normal day not going to work for Craig Scanlon like? I mean, you enjoy spending time with the family. You guys get to the lake. You guys go fishing. Like, what do you guys like doing?
Well, I mean, so it's my 2 boys and I, my youngest son is into theater and music, so we spend a lot of time doing that.
Cool.
It's funny because he's now having singing lessons online. So, it'll be like a Wednesday afternoon and I'll be sitting downstairs and I could hear like this little angelic voice. And I'm like, where is that coming from? And I forget that it's him with his singing coach. Nice. My 14-year-old's super into basketball. Actually, from a 14-year-old perspective, I mean, thankfully he's taller than me. But from a 14-year-old perspective, he
I know, right?
he plays AAU basketball, so we spend a lot of time doing that. Thankfully, it sounds like they're going to get back into practicing, but he's had a personal trainer and personal basketball coach every day at the house while we're going through all this stuff. But normally it's me driving to Compton every day, which is an hour out and an hour back, working in the office and doing that stuff. But since we've been on the lockdown here, I've been working here in Yorba Linda every day. And
spend a little bit more time with them?
Yeah, and typically, it's funny because I still work for Polaris, so I have to be involved in all the corporate meetings there. But I also run a company that's on the West Coast, so typically my days, it's like the Polaris meetings start at 5:30 or 6 because they're 2 hours ahead of us,
right.
And they could give a rat's ass if I live in California or not, so they still have their meetings then.
Right.
So I start early, and then it's weird because then I end late because we work out here on the West Coast, so it's typically long days. It's I would say it's probably not as glamorous as everybody probably thinks it is with the fancy title and all, but. Just a lot of work.
Yeah, I can only imagine. We had a couple more comments come in. Amy Quintero said, hey, Craig, Robert Blanton's laughing his ass off.
This next one's pretty good.
Yeah, go ahead and tell him what Blake Vanderloo said.
He says, without Craig, most of us would still be driving Yerf dogs on the farm.
That comment is pretty true.
You know, it's funny because I don't really ever beat anybody up. You know, it's so awesome to hear that stuff because I don't really think of it that way. I might have worked them all for a free drink here and there when I was at an event because of it, but no, I don't really, like I said in the beginning. I'm so thankful for all the folks that have represented Polaris and represented Foro Parts. To me, it's, you know, like a lot of the things we did weren't really. I didn't have a ton of contracts. I remember when I was leaving, you know, to come out here, I had to write down a lot of contracts because I didn't have a lot. It was always, here's the agreement. We shook hand and then we lived up to it, and they lived up to their end of the bargain too. And people were always like, well, you know, what do you want here? I'm like, well, if I don't feel like I'm getting the value out of you, you won't be around, just like you won't be with us if you don't feel like you're getting it out of us either. So, but it's just so fun to hear those folks that think that, because I think the exact same about all of them. So it's very fulfilling.
Well, I wanted to bring up, and hopefully you can tell our audience, one of the stories that you told me earlier this week was that you remembered a race that you had. I think it was maybe the first race that you were driving with the Jagged X guys, and Brandon Sims passed you guys. Yeah,
Silver State. Yeah, Silver State. And Brandon and I still joke about this. I saw him in Needles for Memorial Day, and Brandon was a hot shot. He was, you know, just coming on the scene, and he passed me up through the woods like I wasn't even moving. And I'd like to tell you that I flat or something like that. I didn't. He was just way faster than me. He went by me, and I remember I said to Keith, I said, what was his number? And he's like, 913. Who cares, you know? And after the race was over, I was on the podium. I said, whoever's driving 913, I want to talk to that guy. And at that point, when I first started racing, I never told anybody I worked for Polaris. The only guys that knew I worked for Polaris were the guys from Jagged X for the first 3 or 4 years. And
that's a long
time. I walked
time.
to the Brandon.
Yeah. Incognito.
Yeah, because I kind of just wanted to learn what was going on before, you know, I was embarrassing everybody at Polaris. So I walked with the Brandon. He was with all his buddies, and he had won, so they were celebrating and stuff. And I said, hey, I'd like to talk to you at some point in time. And he was like, yeah, sure, whatever. You know, little 5'7" guy, walk away, you know.
He's like, are you the guy that was out there looking for parking?
yeah. So 3 days later, I got an email, and it was like, hey, buddy, this is Brandon Sims. I think I met you at the race. And
oops.
My bad.
I didn't know who you were at the time. Yeah. And, but no, it was just funny because that's when he realized I'd worked for Polaris. And when I said I want to talk to you, it was something that was super real. And I think we inked a deal then, or we agreed to a deal then, and he's been a factory guy ever since.
Do you have any
you want to talk about a guy, right? Like that, we talked about it earlier. It's like, work your butt off, go earn it, and then good things will happen to you. Brandon and his dad run a garage in Prescott, Arizona. He'd gone racing, paid for everything himself, had a group of his buddies, you know, and Bailey supporting him, and they went out and they kicked butt, right? And then we started supporting him, and he just got better and better and better and better, you know, and that's, you know, there's all these little series and stuff like that you can go run and kind of refine what you're doing, and it won't cost as much money, but he's exactly how you should do it.
Yeah,
100%. You want somebody to look at. Brandon Sims is one of them.
Yeah, he had some super laser focus, too. I just think those stories are cool because that's one story that you've told us and you've shared with your audience, but there's 3-4 years worth of stories like that everybody else has with Craig that hardly anybody knew, man. And that goes to show, like, the development of an industry and the development of a genre of racing couldn't happen unless you had a leader, like you said, on the forefront of that. That's pretty freaking cool, man.
To be that key person in that, you know, time frame, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and not to want anything out of it, but to help.
Yeah.
We have a whole bunch of comments coming in. So, Case, can you read some of these?
Yeah.
Lucretia said that was me, a handshake deal.
Yep, handshake deal. Heck yeah. Robert Blanton said, next drink is on me, Craig, and also drinks for all my off-road family watching The Dirt Life, except you, Caden. Go do your homework.
Yeah, Caden, you got to do your homework.
And be nice to your sister.
Yeah, for sure.
We got a bunch of good comments in. What's the best way for and this was Sean Kelly, he said, what's the best way for a team to approach Polaris?
Well, Brett would be a way better guy to ask at this point, but you know, I would tell you, if you build yourself a real resume, you know, And what I mean by build yourself a real resume, I would actually go out and do it, get it, in race and have a real program put together, and then actually build a race resume, a written one, and email it to the folks, Brett or anybody else at Polaris. And don't do it. If you're looking for help for next season, do not send it to them in November, December. That ship has already sailed.
Right. Yeah.
You got July is when they start looking at July, August is when they start looking at stuff like that.
I think the key of what you just said is make it a real resume. Don't make it just like, oh, I'm this racer guy, I've done this. Like, show them that you've put in the work. Show them something substantial. Like, make them understand that you're not just on a stack of resumes. Make them understand what type of person you are. Make them be the 913 that Craig remembers passing him down the course. Like, do that. You have to be able to stand out for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think, to be honest with you, I think right now in side-by-sides, I think the NA class and the rally classes, and there's so many classes that are popping up that might not be as expensive as trying to race Pro Turbo, because Pro Turbo is going to be pretty darn expensive to be, competitive at it. There's a lot of classes popping up and a lot of races that you can go and do, and it doesn't cost you a fortune. Like the rally class is awesome. Go get some wins in rally class and keep building your car up. And
plus, it looks fun.
And yeah, I was actually thinking about doing it for Silver State because with all these races stacking up, I can't race the real car there and then get the Baja and then get to Vegas to Reno. So I was like, maybe I'll race rally class. I called Donald from Best in Desert. He's like, we don't have a rally class at Silver State. I'm like, you should have one.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah. But, rally class is a great one, and the RS1 stuff is great.
Yeah.
And I would say the just getting yourself out there and getting started.
Blake Vanderlip keeps throwing these little, I know these are like secret things.
I'm sure.
Oh crap! I've got more comments coming in. He said "salt of the earth" and a hot girlfriend, so that must be some inside joke too.
I guess.
And then of course Robert says I would have put a ring on it by now.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Great.
There's some comments coming in that are must be something that we just don't know about. And Amy Quintero just she said the same thing as Seth obviously drives the NA class for the Polaris and Red Bull team, but I really do think that class is a good, and I don't want to call it like a starter class because there's some fantastic drivers, but it's a little different. Like Craig said, like the Pro Turbo class, those guys are very experienced. They go balls to the wall the whole time. It's very, very difficult to win in a situation like that because there's a lot of luck involved. There's a lot of team members involved, like those types of things. So if you want to make a real resume, it's definitely better to start, at a lower level and start making a name for yourself. Craig.
Yeah, as far as NA, a starter class for sure, but Seth, Cheeto, so Seth Quintero, his name's Cheeto for me. It's his nickname
Cheeto?
for me, but
does he like Cheetos?
There's not he loves, we both love Cheetos, Flamin' Hot Cheetos. So, there's not I'll tell you, if he raced Turbo tomorrow, he'd be right there. That kid's fast.
Yeah.
But NA wise, it is a great class to break into, but good luck beating Cheeto. I'll tell you that much. He's going to be tough to beat.
Well, Caden Danbury thinks he can, so he said, can I run Luda in the rally class? And so if there's some of our audience members that don't know, Luda is one of Craig's cars, I think the first race car that you guys built for Best in the Desert, right?
Yeah, it's my old car. It's sitting here in the garage. Won't ever move. Just collect dust at this point. It'll be a barn find at some point in time. Actually, I think what I want to do is wait like 10 years and go race like a Legends class at Nora or something like that with it.
That would be super cool. We have a buddy here in Arizona. His name is Jeff Furrier. He's bought the two Budweiser Jeep trucks. He has those. He just restored those guys. Who did he say that drove those for?
Oh, shoot, I'm going to ruin it.
Yeah, I forget it too. But anyways, so he's all into, like, Nora is his number one, man. So he's got a bunch of cool cars from the olden days too.
Mirrors, maybe?
Yeah, the mirrors guys.
Because he's the only guy to race without mirrors.
Yeah,
remember?
Exactly. Dude, some of the stuff that they had a little lever that you could pull. Instead of, like,
awesome.
You know how we all disconnect the light bars and have them quicker? They had a little lever that you could just pull, and all the lights pop up, like old DeLorean style.
It's pretty cool.
It was
super cool.
It was super rad. Well, let's do some more fun stuff. Let's talk about that Bronco build that you guys just did.
Oh, geez. I've had the Bronco for, I don't know, probably 5 years now. We finished it like 2 years ago. Bill from Jagged X, I remember we were driving on the road. He's like, when are you going to spend some of that money of yours and build something cool? And I was like, and he's like, build a Jeep or something like that. And I'm like, I don't want to build a Jeep. Everybody does Jeeps. So I ended up doing the Bronco.
Dude, that's exactly why I love that you built it, because I was so sick and tired of seeing all these overland guys in a Jeep, and I'm like, yes, a Bronco, sweet.
Yeah. So I bought a 68 Bronco from a retired school teacher who was getting towed around behind his motorhome. And it was stock, as stock can be. And it was like, we're just going to do this, we're just going to, make it nice, put a lift kit on it or something like that. And before you know it, just got way out of control. And
$100,000 later.
and now it has the original body on it, and that's about it. It's pretty built out. It's got a stroker motor in it. It's lifted 5 inches. It's got new axles. Literally there's the only thing that's remaining from the original vehicle is the body. So
do you know what transmission you used in there?
It's a Ford racing transmission. It's actually a stock Ford racing transmission.
Oh, cool. The thing looks killer too, man. And like, I saw those videos that you posted on social media as well. It just looked like it was fun. Like, it probably had to be pretty gratifying to get in there and whip it around too, huh?
Well, I'll tell you, it is and it isn't. We made it too nice. I've talked to Bill about that a lot. We made it too nice, and now I can't do anything that great with it. It's a concrete crawlers. But
hey, I don't know if you know anybody at Polaris or anything, but you can do that stuff in Polaris RZR too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Did you have flashbacks of red jackets? Yay, 7th, when you were almost getting it up on 2 wheels.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Even Jam and Jay was the guy who got me to do it, because I wasn't gonna. He talked me into, we're just gonna do a photo shoot out on the lake bed, and we'll just sit it out there, and I'll take some cool shots of it. Before I know it, I'm doing donuts and speed runs and bouncing it through the rocks a little bit, but thankfully it's right back to right where it was. So we didn't do too much.
Well, speaking of Jam and Jay, he's got some really good questions that they might take a while, but they're good.
Oh, well, we'll skip over those for right now. Well, you can ask them, but so Wayne Matlock says it's a street queen, so that's a little bit of a jab right there, right?
I'm not disagreeing with the guy. I can't argue that.
Dude, it's pretty mint, though. I don't know if I'd be out there trashing it either.
This is actually a fantastic question. What does the future of side-by-side racing look like?
Man, I don't even know how you would answer that, though.
That's pretty deep.
Did you hear that question, Craig?
Well, I think the beauty of side-by-side racing and off-road is it's really the one class where you have OEM involvement, and I think that's fantastic. We had Polaris got involved first, and Can-Am's heavily involved, and it's cool to see the OEMs get involved, which makes me think it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. I think that it'll be bigger cars, faster cars, bigger tires. You'll see. You're just going to continue to see it evolve. And go back to the first cars we were racing, 50 horsepower. Go back and watch videos. I have YouTube videos of my car, racing, and it was like, wow, we were fighting to go, 50 miles an hour.
Yep.
And now we're, at the mint, I broke. We're going 100 miles an hour. So,
Yikes.
And that's just in a very short period of time. You got to remember, that's 8 years.
Yeah.
And so who knows what it'll look like 8 years from now. But, the beauty of it is that you have OEM support, and it's just going to get bigger and faster. I do hope that it continues to be a class where, yes, there is a high-end pro turbo class where, it's going to cost a little bit more, but there's still entry-level classes where people can work their way up, because that's how you keep going.
And that's where the growth is coming from.
Yeah, well, the growth is – I still think the advent of you guys doing the 170 was one of the smartest business decisions ever, because that was like the entry level. Like, to me, every time I go to a race, I will take all of the time, even if I'm starting right after the 170 class, I'll sit up on the grandstands and watch the 170s and then go down to my race car after, because it's so cool. So we got a question that came in for you, Craig, that says, can you ask Craig if he could ever get a do-over either at work or in his career? What would it be and why?
A great question.
Oh, jeez. Race at work, I don't think. I mean, there are decisions I've made that I don't love, but I think I've learned from. There are probably situations that I've handled early on in my career with a little bit more angst than I probably do now. There's probably moments where I could have led better. Not probably. I know there's moments where I could have led better. But I'd tell you, instead of looking, I'm not going to look back and say I wish I could get a do-over. What I'd say is, if you screw something up, or if you're not the greatest you can be, learn from it so you don't keep doing it.
Dude,
and that's what I try to do.
100.
That's the best answer I could have ever wished for, man. So, Jason, actually, Meme Man, we don't know your real name, but you got to learn from something like that. Like when you can hear somebody saying, don't look back, just look forward, and don't make the same mistakes. That's some very, very good advice. And that's a racer's mentality too. We always say, like, people ask me, Craig, they say, dude, how do you get better? Like, how do you not, like, how do you still want to race? It's because I don't think like that. Like, I don't ever think about my mistake in the last corner. I think about what I'm not going to do in the next corner that I can do better or whatever. So that racer mentality really has a lot of success in the business world as well. Well, we're getting pretty long on this conversation, but I definitely wanted to ask, what was one of the most fun times? I mean, winning the Baja 500 is cool, but there's also a lot of other things that are really, really fun in racing. What's one of the funnest times that you can remember with your team or with your coworkers or something like that?
Oh, geez. I mean, the number of places I've been to and ridden and done with this, I'm the lucky one, right? I don't know. I mean, I guess racing wise, I would tell you it's the very first test run we did in Parker, Arizona. We went out and simulated a Parker 250, but it was that weekend and spending that time with this brand new team we had put together. I would tell you, a lot of times it's the time we spend out testing and doing that kind of stuff.
Learning, yeah.
And just spending the time where you're just hanging out, and getting away from everything. It's just a bunch of folks riding racers. We went and did a Parker trip a couple months ago, and we're going down. It's my team. We're all running because we were supposed to race that weekend. We said, well, we're not racing, so let's go. We were supposed to race in San Felipe. I said, we're not racing, so let's go rent some houses in Parker. We were out riding all day long, and at the end of the day, we ran into Blake and Bill Schuler and Brandon Schuler and their families out in the middle of the desert in Parker. We had no idea they were there. They had no idea we were there. We sat there on the side of the road with them for an hour and a half, and it's stuff like that. So it's hard to pick out one thing. I mean, riding the dunes in Abu Dhabi is pretty fun too. I mean, there's cool stuff that I've got to experience, but but I would say it's the people I've met and the rides I've been on that have really stuck there for me.
Casey and I always talk about different stories, but one of the ones that reminds me of a good time was, like, we went down to Estero Beach to race at a Lucas race down there, and we ended up not finishing. We lost 2 motors that weekend, but I still remember it as one of the best and most fun times because we all got to eat tacos right there on the beach together. Like, that was all I cared about. I came home with a smile on my face and didn't give a shit about all the carnage that we had with the race team. So we gotta like stop with some of the comments. We can't answer all of them because there's just so many.
Aaron's scaring me. I'm afraid.
So Aaron Quintero says, Air Dog's birthday in Mexico. Ask Craig about his donkey.
And he said you could have been a model. #Jefe.
All right. So I don't know if you want to answer any of those, but
well, I mean, there's like 3 things in there he's asking about. I mean, I'm not talking the Mexico one. I think that's a little bit more for Aaron and I have to have. It's more adult. The donkey story is so we have a miniature donkey as our mascot for our race team. His name is JJ. He lives behind the shop behind Keith's house, and I wanted to have a mascot for the team, and I talked to Keith's wife Deborah, and I said, I want to get like a donkey or something. Like we need something to take to the races with us for us to all ride. It's like, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers, you have the Detroit Lions. We need to have the SMG And naturally, we're a bunch of jackasses, so let's get a donkey.
Perfect.
Well, hopefully I can kind of be on the same level with you there because we have a virtual unicorn as our mascot, but not a real donkey. So.
Yeah. So Deborah comes up with the bright idea to get a miniature donkey.
We got to take care of it.
The beauty of this is that I think I paid for the donkey and the corral and stuff with the donkey, and Deborah loves the donkey, and Keith gets to feed the donkey and clean up its crap every day, and so he's very thankful for that.
Nice.
But I remember when we got the donkey, I was sitting in my office at Polaris, and I was in a meeting around my conference table at Polaris, and Keith called me, and I said, "Hey, what's going on?" He's like, "I just picked up the donkey," and I'm like, "What do you?" And so I'm in a very corporate meeting, and I got Keith calling from Arizona and saying he was in Tucson, and he didn't have a horse trailer, so he put it in the back seat of his Dodge Ram, and he's driving home with it, and he says something. He goes, "The donkey's very upset. It wants to get in the front seat with me."
Oh, no.
I'm like, "Well, why are you driving?" So imagine the people in my office at the point in time, because all they hear is my side of the conversation. And the donkey gets very upset, and it ends up going to the bathroom in the back seat of his truck. And so that was a whole nother deal. But,
Dude,
but JJ's still around. JJ's still around. Probably still the most requested T-shirt we've ever done for SMG. It was a T-shirt we did for like the 500 years ago, and it was just a donkey with an SMG over its eyes.
Oh my! Do you have any larges left? I would like one.
I need that.
No, but we need. It's funny because we need to do a rerun. So
Yeah,
maybe
you
we'll
do.
it for the
Retro.
500 this year.
So does
We'll make sure
anytime is anybody at any time, I forgot what brand, I think you said it was a Dodge, but anytime JJ see a Dodge truck coming around, does he just look at it and go, no?
Well, the race team's all Ford, so he's pretty good. So we're all right. But yeah, no, the donkey, we still have the donkey, and Keith still complains to me every time I see him about the fact that I bought this donkey and now he has to take care of it every day. It's a great situation for me because I get to visit the donkey, and I'm like the grandfather of the donkey, so I get to go home when we're done playing.
I love that story. Can I get sign a release real quick that I can do a sound clip of all this donkey talk?
Oh boy.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Well, since we're on a happy donkey note, let's wind this thing down a little bit. We have a rapid fire Q&A for you, but let's ask a couple questions. What does the future hold for Craig Scanlon? You can answer this: professional, racing, whatever you want.
Oh, geez. To continue to build out 4 parts. I mean, I want to see that become the brand it should. It should be. It's the best brand in Jeep and truck, but there's still so much work we need to do as far as getting to where I want to be for the customer and customer experience. But in the racing stuff, I don't know. I got a little taste of victory last year, and me and Kristen are going to let me pre-run with him this year. So I think he might be giving me away all his secrets, and I'd like to get a score championship under my belt from the racing perspective, and as far as my kids go, just be the best dad I can.
Yeah,
awesome.
I like that last
Love
part
it.
too. Yeah, I think you guys are doing a fantastic job. Joey D is doing a fantastic job with you guys at 4 Wheel Parts. I'm glad that you brought him on to be a part of your team. He's a hard worker, and he's putting in lots and lots of hours, man, for the longest portion of his life, and he's obviously a fantastic dude too. So the team that you guys have over there with your 1,900 employees and a great leader, I think it's a fantastic thing that you guys are doing with 4 Wheel Parts. I couldn't be happier seeing all the push that you guys are doing on social media, the things that you guys are doing in the dealerships and things like that. In fact, I had spoken with you earlier this week, but I would love to have a Dirt Life show at one of the dealerships, and maybe we'll do it in Vegas, like you said. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, I love that idea.
I think
it's funny because George Adler, was the one who started 4 Wheel Parts 60 some years ago, and I met him. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it was like looking like everybody was like, "You're just like George. You're a great guy, but you're a little bit you get a little angry at times." And I met the guy, and it's one of those things where when you know who that person was who started, it's kind of the legacy piece means a lot to me, and making sure that we build out continue to build out 4 Wheel Parts, and yes, it's a Polaris owned company. We will have great results and make money and all that stuff for shareholders and all that good stuff. But there's a soul behind this company. Greg Adler was a part of it, and George, and doing the right stuff and continuing that is important to us there.
When you can remember that and not forget where it came from, that's one of the best things. That's what we always tell people, man, is like when you're living your dirt life, remember where you came from. Remember why you're so passionate about what you're doing. If you got behind a race car and you didn't win that race, remember how long it took you to get to the point that you got second or third, or you battled, or you fought to the finish. Like, remember all those things. So the last question that we have is, what's your preferred method of contact? I know you have at Scanlon Motorsports on Instagram, and you also have Craig craig.scanlon on Instagram. So how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah. Joey D23 on Instagram.
Okay, perfect.
The Italian Stallion.
Yeah, so we got a comment in that. Who said that? Italian
Instagram. I'm on Instagram
Quintero.
a lot. So what did Quintero say?
The Italian Stallion, Joey D.
Yeah, there you go. I'm on. Instagram is probably a good way to do it. My corporate email, they block a lot of stuff. So if you have an email before,
we don't want everybody sending you a bunch of emails. So, and Kristen Matlock said, "Can't wait to get down and get into Baja and making some more memories pre-running with you." All right, so you ready? You ready for the rapid fire Q&A?
There's one last
Sure.
one. If you could do it quickly, this is awesome.
Go ahead.
This is Jason again. How far away are we from a UTV being a Class 1? When will a UTV outpace a buggy? And he said he's got another hour, so let's do this.
Yeah, I don't know if we can stay up for another hour, man.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work to get this thing online afterwards, dude. I'm going to be up till 3 o'clock in the morning already. So, so
I'm not. A real simple answer.
Don't know.
I don't know, and I'm not. And if I probably do know, but I can't answer that anyway.
Okay.
I let you know.
Professional.
But it is a really good question, and I think that you can answer it in a couple ways. Like, first of all, Craig didn't know that UTV racing was going to be as big as it is now when he got into a 40 horsepower, 50 horsepower car back in the day. But the drive and the focus that they have on the industry and the people that are working at Polaris now, like Brett and all those other guys, I think it's fantastic to see because you have a fresh set of eyes looking at it. You also have a fresh set of dreams looking at it, and who knows what'll happen in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think I think it'll just keep evolving as long as the manufacturers understand there's price points involved here, because to get the masses out riding, you got to keep price points ridiculous. But I think there's still price points above where they're at right now. We'll find enough customers to sell bigger, faster vehicles.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the important thing.
Oh my gosh, we got another question just come in. All right, this is the last question from the audience. Ask him why The Rock had to carry his football team. And that came from Eric Bloom.
Oh, that's my nephew. So, The Rock. I played high school football with The Rock. So it's
nice.
He was on my high school football team. Yes, he was as big as he is now in high school. It was terrifying.
Sounds like it.
All right, Case, you want to go with the first question?
All right,
of the
sounds good.
Rapid fire Q&A with Craig Scanlon.
I think we know the answer.
All right,
here you go.
it.
Ready, Craig? iRacing or real racing?
Real.
Second question: Barsha or Webb?
Say that one time. Oh, I made it very clear that I don't do that Supercross stuff. I didn't grow up that way. But Webb. I'll do Webb.
Going for Webb because KTM, right? Actually, we should ask. We should ask. This is a better question. So, how about? Oh crap! I just forgot. Derek Drake, since he's going to be on the show next week, or Jessy Nelson, because Derek Drake is a young kid as well, and they're both on a 4-wheel parts team.
No, Jessy. No, Jessy's my boy. You kidding me?
Yep.
There's no. You can get a list of just about anybody, and they're not going to overtake Jessy.
That's the reason.
That kid is wild.
He is.
I love him.
He really is. All right.
Favorite food? I think we're going to be shocked.
Steak, I guess. Boring, but steak. Ribeye to be specific.
Lil Smokies or pizza rolls?
Oh, damn. Pizza rolls.
Ooh, that's good. You don't like Lil Smokies, dude? They're so good.
No, I didn't say I
That's
didn't.
why he was thinking about it.
RJ got me hooked on pizza rolls. He was here like a couple months ago, and we had pizza rolls, and it was late, and it was like the best thing I've ever ate in my life. So
what'd you dip them in, ranch?
Hot sauce.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Favorite soda?
Hot sauce. Don't really drink soda. Peach green tea from Starbucks.
Yep, nice.
Oh, this is a good one. Uggs or Crocs?
Neither. Uggs if I had to do something, though.
Most memorable race?
I kind of answered this one already. We'll skip over that one.
500, yeah.
Yeah. So, favorite flavor of ice cream?
Coffee.
Ooh, coffee. That's a good one.
That's very good. Ski or snowboard?
Snowboard.
Yeah, I'm going snowboard, too. Dogs or cats?
Say that one time. Dogs. Are you kidding me? Dogs.
Netflix or YouTube?
Oh, I don't know. I could get down with a little YouTube. Probably YouTube, because if I watch one video, it's 6 hours later, and I end up watching falcon hunting videos.
Dude, it sucks you in.
You get caught in the loop is what happens.
You'll start out you'll start out watching like a Best in the Desert race or something, and then all of a sudden you'll be into like a bicycle event and like what he said, like falcon hunting.
So it always ends up with a GoPro in the back of a falcon hunting like a goose in midair. I don't know how it ends up there.
YouTube knows way too much about us. What's the next one, Case?
Sure. Burrito or taco?
Taco.
Supercross. Well, you don't do this. Okay, how about this then? Score or Best in the Desert?
Ooh. Score. I guess. I love that. I love the guys who run Best in the Desert, but right now I'm kind of stuck. I'm kind of hooked on Score. Right now.
I love the guys that do Best in the Desert too, but just because of tacos, I'll pick Score just because I can go down there and eat tacos.
Yeah, you know you're going to get that.
It's the pre-running, the culture, and the whole deal that does it for me.
And the history, I'm sure.
Dude, there's so many comments coming in. We got to button up the show here,
Sorry,
guys.
everybody. We love you.
All right.
What other form of racing would you like to try?
Yeah.
Do we tell him, or we just let him go?
Let's let him go.
Okay.
What? Is this a test?
No, it's not a test.
Okay, rally. I'd like to do rally.
Yeah.
He always wants it to be Monster Truck.
Yeah.
Monster Jam. And someone, who was it?
I forgot who it was. Picked Monster Truck.
Somebody finally
Brooke
picked.
somebody?
Yeah, I think it was Brooke.
Yeah. I always wanted to be Monster Trucks because, like, have you seen Kyle LeDuc's brother Todd LeDuc that does those Monster Trucks, and they send it like further. I still to this day don't understand how the heck they land and don't break themselves in half.
Suspension seats, it has to be.
Yeah, suspensions. But you ever see how strapped in those guys? So Heavy D from Diesel Brothers is a buddy of mine, and he has that bro dozer, and he told me. He literally, so like when I'm on my car, I can turn my head. He literally cannot, all he can do is with his eyes. That's it. They are that strapped into those things. They don't move.
And what about the suspension, though?
But is the seat suspended? It has to be.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, and then don't they have like a clear floorboard and stuff too?
Yeah, I think so.
Dude, that's still amazing. All right.
They're gnarly.
Last and final question, man, and this is the game changer right here. Chips and guacamole or French fries and ranch?
Chips and guac.
Yep.
Nice. High five. Air five.
We can, we'll just be best friends, man. Chips and guacamole wins. So good job. I think that's going to bring you some good luck for the Baja 500 this year.
Yeah, that's a score answer for sure.
Exactly. So, is there anything else that you'd like to say or anybody that you'd like to thank before we get off the line?
I've mentioned him a couple times. Keith Redstrom, my co-driver and team manager. I mean, it just doesn't happen without him. You know, I would say team manager, best friend, all that stuff wrapped into one.
Awesome.
You know, as far as my team at Four Parts, my team at SMG, the sponsors I have: Method, Tensor, Rigid, Fox, Proline Wraps. There's a whole bunch of them. I'll forget. Boxo, Rocket Fosgate. I'd love to thank all those guys, but that's kind of typical of these things. So
yeah,
I got some great people behind me.
The reason we wanted to make sure is that they get a little bit of recognition, not because you don't help them or whatever, but they deserve it because they're part of your team and they're part of a growing sport that I think with your help, obviously, everybody benefits from it. Like, I am very, very thankful that you were in the position that you were when the side-by-side industry came out. I remember driving my Yamaha Rhino thinking, like, if I hit a curb, this thing's going to break in half. And then seeing, like, the 800s come out, I was like, oh, my God, this is like a blessing in disguise. The 800 is like a new world for everybody. And then obviously seeing the escalation of Polaris going into the different directions that I had with the 900, the 1000, obviously doing turbos and stuff. I can only imagine where the future of the side-by-side industry is going to go, and I see the same direction that you're taking four-wheel parts in right now, and you're taking your race team. It's just fantastic, dude. So keep up the great work.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you guys too. I mean, it's our industry needs more people like you guys doing this kind of stuff and continuing to put our industry out in front of people. Because every time you get one new person that hasn't seen it before and gets into it, that makes our industry that much better. So Keep up the good work, guys. I really appreciate what you guys are doing.
It's fantastic,
Thanks.
man. We really appreciate everybody listening because what Craig just said, like we've seen so many people call us that have gone down to the dealership, bought a Polaris, bought another side-by-side, and it's just been fantastic to see. We get all kinds of people, and that's one of the reasons we want to start doing more remote shows at dealerships, at 4 Wheel Parts, at those kinds of places, because we think it's a perfect place to help share the love of the off-road industry. So thanks again, Craig, for being the guy that you are, dude. You're kicking ass and taking names.
No worries. Thank you. And by the way, you get up here to Orange County, bring that road bike. We'll go for a spin.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. And not to tell everybody that I'm going to go out there and kill myself, but there may or may not be one of Casey's buddies that offered me to ride an e-mountain bike, so I may be trying to do that pretty soon.
Nice.
I'm pretty excited about it. I can't wait to try it. So
Can't wait.
Thank you to the guys at Broadway Bikes. Was it Bruce at Broadway Bikes?
Scott and Bruce.
Scott
Yep.
and Bruce at Broadway Bikes. So thank you guys very much. But I'm definitely going to bring my bike, so I'll see you in late July after the Baja 500. We can go on a road bike ride, and you can sweat out some of those beers that you drink with all the team.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate the time.
Thanks,
really
Craig.
Same to you.
We'll
Take
see
care.
you later, bud. Have a great night.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Man, it is so cool to see such a solid human being behind such a great industry.
No doubt. And again, the proof's in the pudding with all these people that he's made an impact on their life, regardless of it's because of a race or not. You know what I mean?
Well, and these are racing people. These are people that are part of our audience. Can you imagine what the people at his company say?
Absolutely.
You know, you were talking about a few shows ago, and you mentioned it tonight about the great leadership qualities that people possess. And you can see just by talking to him, he was very engaged. He was very open with us. And I'm sure that's the way he is every day with all of his employees and with his race team.
Absolutely.
It's fantastic to see that, man. I wish more people could be like that in our world, and especially in these crazy times that we're living in right now.
Just making a difference in someone's life, you know?
Yeah, it's super, super cool to see. Well, to kind of go along with that same topic, we have been thinking about for about, 3 or 4 months now about starting a little side venture with the podcasting stuff and the live show stuff. So we want to branch off a little bit and hope that maybe some of you guys will transfer over as listeners. We want to start a show. It's called 19 Lives. And it's going to be called 19 Lives for a reason, because my favorite number is 19. And unfortunately, I've gotten in so many wrecks, died so many times, whatever you want to call it. We're going to be calling 19 Lives, the journey of your life. So, and we're going to have a bunch of amazing people on. We're going to have a bunch of amazing guests, and we want you guys to be a part of that as well and to listen to some of these fantastic stories. It's not going to be all about off-road. It's going to be about life in general, and I think that some of the guests that we already have lined up will blow your mind. It's going to be really, really cool to talk to these people. I don't even know. Like, I was talking to my family earlier this week, and I was like, I'm a little scared to start this show because I think I'm going to freaking break down and lose it in some of these stories. Like, I might just get too emotional. You know what I mean?
Good.
So I think it'll be cool, though. I think it'll be really cool. I think it'll be cool to share these stories with all these people. And it's going to be incredible life stories that we talk about. So please pay attention to that. I'll announce some stuff on my personal social media. Please pay attention to that. Thank you so much for Craig for coming on the show. We really appreciate him. We appreciate all the guys at 4 Wheel Parts. Unfortunately, Joey D couldn't comment in tonight because he had to attend, I think he said, a graduation. But thank you very much, Brett Carpenter, for calling in. Thank you very much, Robert Blanton, for calling in. We appreciate Jessy Nelson giving us some of his time about the Supercross stuff. Thanks, Case, for coming in. It was really awesome.
All these listeners with these awesome
the amount that
is amazing.
The amount of interaction and awesomeness that the show is getting, it still blows my freaking mind, man. I'm so excited about it. So thank you guys so much. We really, really appreciate it. We can't thank you guys enough for living your dirt life with us.
Before we go, let me tell you how mine and your life is going to be changed here in just a minute.
Yeah, let's see.
My oldest texted us and told us that she made homemade cookies.
No way.
And she put them out on the hood of my Jeep.
Really?
They drove by and put it out. Yeah.
So we got to go out there and mob some cookies.
So we're gonna have the best cookies here.
All right, guys, we got to get out of here quick. So next week's show, I think I might have mentioned it before, but next week's show we have Factory Troy Lee Designs KTM Red Bull team member Derek Drake coming on the show. So it's going to be cool. We're going to talk a little bit of Supercross. We're going to talk about how he's dealing with being up there in Salt Lake City. It's going to be a really, really cool time to talk with him because he's going to be directly in the mix. So it'll be neat, and he'll have his first race under his belt. So we can't wait to talk to Derek. Please always hit us up on social media. Congratulations to Ed for winning this bad boy DynoJet Stage 2. Excuse me.
Following the rules.
Yeah, and following the rules. The Stage 2 Performance Kit. And thank you very much, Matt, for offering up that and being such a great supporter of the show. We really appreciate you guys. You guys are the lifeblood of this show, so please keep tuning in. Hit us up on social media. We will always try to answer as quickly as possible. We love you guys. We will see you guys next week. Good night.
Thanks for listening to The Dirt Life Show.